Hey, welcome
hello
back,
guys.
everybody. I'm Peter.
And I'm Mike.
And Mike looks very pale.
I look very pale.
He is.
It's a light in front of my face.
Yeah. Exactly.
Let me fix that for you.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, Mike will be right back. In the meantime, let's have a chat. No, just kidding. So, guys,
We need
today,
to have a talk.
Yeah, exactly. We need to talk, guys. Wow.
I'm just breaking down the studio in the meanwhile.
That looks difficult indeed. Anyway, guys, today the stream is all about this card right here, the RX 6600 XT from AMD. Yeah, today going to be showing you all about this card. We have actually two in the studio, of course.
Better.
Also looking at it in a physical sense, I can get this one out of the way now because, as you can see, I've got a benchmark rig here as well. We're not just going to be talking and looking at the cards themselves, but also comparing them in a live gameplay comparison. Because we were thinking about, we do this kind of stream a lot, and even though we don't have all the time in the world to do, a whole lot of stuff to prepare, we thought, how can we make things a bit more interesting, a bit different than we normally do. So what we did is we tried to make two rigs that are kind of similar, but from a different era. So, for example, we have. We've got two different cards here. This is the 66.
Long story short,
XT.
Peter's got the new stuff, I've got the old stuff today.
And this is, for example, one of the goldie oldies, or at least from 2016, 17.
Yeah, this is 16.
480.
480.
Yeah, this is 2006. This is 480 gaming, but this one has only 4 gigs of video memory. So we also had a 580, which is, to all intents and purposes, the same card. It's the same GPU, Polaris architecture and everything like that. But that one had 8 gigs as well. So compared to the 6600, which also has 8 gigs of memory, we thought that would be a bit more apples to apples comparison in the end. Because our goal is to kind of show you guys, if you have a system that, around 2017 with first gen Ryzen and everything like that, was a pretty nice buy. You got a Ryzen, also an 8-core, also an 8-core processor in here. We'll show you the full specs later on. But, what kind of upgrade or performance, what's the difference that you can notice when you compare a comparative system-ish as much as possible? Yeah,
in terms of positioning, like back in the day, it was a very similar system to what we're using today. Yeah. It's just 4 years older.
yeah, exactly. What's the upgrade of the graphics card, but the whole system as well? What are you getting for it when playing the exact same games in the exact same settings at the same resolution?
Nigerian is saying on Twitch chat, only Radeons, no GeForce comparison. No, today we only have Radeons because, of course, this live stream is about the 6600 XT.
Yes.
But, of course, you can also use this approximately for comparable GeForce cards. So like the RX 580 that I'll be using today is like 1060 6GB area, and the 6600 XT, I would say it's like in between RTX 3060 and RTX 3060 Ti approximately.
That's at least what AMD is saying, and I got some benchmarks for you as well. Yeah. But you can see it there. Also, that's where it's positioned in terms of the mythical MSRP price. That's what the M in MSRP stands for. All jokes aside, the situation still sucks. It's reportedly getting somewhat better, at least for NVIDIA cards. There are these sites, especially I think in Germany, or the DACH region, and they report that, at least for NVIDIA, the price is kind of normalizing a bit, slowly, and the availability is getting better. And actually AMD cards seem to be going a little bit up in price, but yeah, there's really not that much we can do about it currently, other than try to produce as many of the cards as we can, so that hopefully at least availability improves, and then we can of course look at the rest when that's sorted. Anyway.
By the way, if you guys are wondering why I'm looking down to the side all the time, that's because my desk here is stuffed. I have the streaming PC, I have the old gaming PC to game on today, and I have the chat all the way there in the bottom. Yeah. So if I'm looking down on you guys.
Literally, he's looking down at you guys.
I should try to say in chat, why does MSI always give Mike the old stuff? I'm wondering too.
Mike's one of the vintage guys, he appreciates that kind of stuff.
Actually, I have vintage filter today, but you will see that later on.
Yeah. fashionably. Anyway, yeah, if you guys got any questions in the chat, we'll try to answer them, at least the ones that we can. And yeah, I hope at least, you know, I know that the interest in graphics cards ever since the whole, you know, situation with inflated prices and availability kind of limited is also not what it used to be. But at least this should be a card that's hopefully a bit better in terms of availability. And, you know, yeah, hopefully the pricing will be sorted as well. It's going in the right direction. Let's hope it continues that way. And then basically, yeah, we're going to show you the differences, but also in the end, hopefully that you can decide whether it be today or, I don't know, months in the future when the prices have hopefully normalized a bit. If this is a suitable card for you for an upgrade. Yeah, that's pretty much.
FRC Eagle on Twitch chat says sponsored by Coca-Cola. Not only Coca-Cola, I'm also sponsored by this banana because I will eat that later on in the stream.
Yes, exactly. And by sponsored by regular old plain water for me.
Sponsored by Brabant water. No one will know what we mean, but
cheers, guys. Michiel is the youngest looking old guy I know. You have no idea how true that is.
Yeah.
But then again, he told me his secret. He's like a lizard, you know. He every time he goes on holiday, he burns his skin, so he has to peel it off, and you know that's like a rejuvenating thing for him. You know, once the old skin is peeled away, he looks like a baby again.
My current skin is 1.5 weeks old.
Exactly. So you know, we know his secret by now.
But I'm still enjoying my last weeks in my 20s.
His twilight days in his 20s. Damn. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. What else can I tell you?
Did you already announce the giveaway?
Yes. We of course we have a giveaway. It's one of the games that we'll actually be showcasing today. So yeah, you can go to msi.com/2/insider, or you can follow the Gleam link that's being. Well, I don't want to say spammed, but you know, repeated in the chat by our bot every, I think 5 minutes should be the case. If you don't see the link, yeah, I mean, we stream on multiple platforms, so that's YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. I think the Facebook and Twitter are not really a big fan of sharing links or URLs, so if you want to have access to the giveaway for sure, make sure you join on YouTube or Twitch, because there in the chat, yeah, it's more reliable that the link will actually be shared. And so it's a Gleam link. Perform a couple of actions. The more actions you perform, the better your chance of winning. And yeah, you can win Valhalla game codes today. Banana for scale? Yeah, damn right. Will the card drop today? I hope not, guys. I'm trying to hold on to it.
Yeah, don't drop it.
Yeah,
don't drop it.
I hope I'm not going to do a Linus. No. Yeah, from what I heard, indeed, and that's, well, it's like the official data from AMD, is that the card, the availability, the on shelf, which is like their language of saying, yeah, it should be, you should be able to buy it if a shop has stock, is today. Actually, I think an hour ago it started. Yeah.
Repo Man says, oh, to be in my 20s again. It stinks being in my early 30s. Well, thanks for giving
30s.
me...
You just wait until you get to your early 40s or, you know, mid 30s or anyway. It's always the thing, right? Oh, you just wait. Yeah,
it doesn't make me look forward to it. But
yeah, FRZ Eagle is right. Those Valhalla codes are almost expired. We still have a few. We actually had to claim one of them ourselves to be able to, you know, do it on showcase it on 2 PCs at the same time. So that's also how we know it still works. Actually, today it still worked. So if you do win one of these codes, we're going to send them out to you as soon as possible. But yeah, we do advise that you claim them as soon as possible to ensure that they still work. We don't know the exact expiration date. We just know that we got them earlier this year, I think. And yeah, we tried to get the exact expiration dates for them, but the people who provided them in our headquarters, but also the external agency, actually didn't know. So.
They thought it was somewhere around this
yeah,
time frame,
thought it
so
was
claim them as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I saw another...
Will you guys feature the other X570S
That was
boards?
the question I meant.
Which other ones are you talking about?
But next week, I will show you all of them. And today we're using one, but that's the one you probably already know, the Tomahawk.
Exactly. I've actually got on this benchmark. Maybe you can pull up the specs. I don't know if you've got the specs there. Probably not.
I only have it in your capture, but I can show you the detailed view.
Yeah.
It's a nice motherboard, isn't it?
Well, maybe you can just grab the, just go to the capture and you
Okay.
can grab the visual from there. Maybe.
Let me see.
Where is it?
There's that one.
Oh, it's the one at the bottom. Okay.
And then we have this one.
I thought we had a taller one as well. Anyway, so right here, what we have, this rig is the RX 6600 XT, of course, Gaming X variant, because we have two models. I'll show you which the other one later on. It sits atop a, here we go, MAG X570S Tomahawk Max Wi-Fi board, right? I think that's it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, Mike is the authority on the names. He'll know exactly the name. I think that's the one. And it's sporting a Ryzen 7 5800X. Yeah, 5800X. And basically stock settings. We didn't do any overclocking. And it's got an air cooler on here. Yeah, I'm not going to show you guys because the card is actually, it's like, you know, being a benchmark rig, it's not fixed to anything, which is also why at some point the case fan, or sorry, the CPU cooler, it's a Wraith, Prism Wraith cooler. It's going to start spinning. That's going to cause some vibrations, and actually, you know, because the card is not fixed, that's actually going to cause some noise. Anyway, you'll probably hear it when it happens.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, based on that, we've also got. On this rig, it's got 32 gigs of DDR4 memory, G.Skill, Trident Z, and yeah, the 750 watt power supply, which is kind of overkill for this rig, but all right, you know, you can get away with probably like 500 watts.
By the way, is
Yes.
XMP enabled?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
Okay, then we maybe need to reboot later on.
Uh-oh. That's usually not good. Anyway, yeah, and for good measure, yeah, we just made sure that everything is pretty much tested and all the drivers, everything is up to date, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the rig I'll be using today, and yeah, we're going to benchmark or show you guys basically 3 games, which you know, we wanted to represent kind of like a scale on the game. Yeah, basically of the game. So from not really heavy on the GPU, but more heavier on the CPU, for example, to very GPU intensive. So we've got Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which is easy on the GPU if you put it to the lowest settings, which we did. You know, we're going for max FPS there to see, you know, how much difference there is in those period accurate rigs. So one from 2017, one from today, pretty much. And we've got middle of the road. We've chosen F1 2021 because, you know, we had so much fun in it the other stream a couple of weeks ago, and well, it is kind of middle of the road.
It's a modern game, but it's not extremely demanding like some other games.
Exactly. I mean, you can still crank up the visuals quite nicely, and it's still somewhat demanding of the GPU, but indeed, it's not the most extreme game. And then as our top game, we've chosen Assassin's Creed Valhalla, also the game we're going to give away today, because yeah, that one is still quite demanding, even at 1080p. So yeah. Those are the 3 games we're going to be displaying and testing for you guys live. You can then see between the Mike's rig and my own which one, you know, the real-time performance, the FPS that we're squeezing out of it. And we're going to try and see if we can, you know, sync up the experience as much as possible. So
yeah, I think some of the games have built-in benchmarks,
Yes.
so there it should be a little bit easier. We can just start the benchmark simultaneously, approximately, and then it should give a good indication.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Eric is watching, by the way, today, because we actually stole his CPU for this live stream.
I very much doubt it, but yeah, I mean, maybe we can do some extreme CPU overclocking later on.
Yeah, let's kill it before he even before he even used it.
Indeed. See,
yeah, the 5800X that Peter is using today is actually Eric's future CPU.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to test drive the crap out of it for him. See if it works okay. We just don't know. We can't guarantee if it will work after this stream. You know, that's.
By the way, it's good that Valhalla is the last game we're playing, right?
Yeah.
Because I just tried to open it and I have an update. It's quite a big one. But it says 15 minutes.
All right, yeah, should be okay.
So maybe we should also check that on yours, because I don't know if that update drops on you as well.
I did update it, or sorry, started earlier today. Let me just try again.
Yeah, but on this system it was downloaded yesterday, and now it gives me.
You never know. I guess I'll have to sign out of this thing. Anyway, we'll check it out later. Let's first just cover the basics. So if we can go to the PPT, to the capture. Here we go. So we've got the RX 6600 XT lineup. So we've got basically two series, as you'll see later on as well. Here you already see them: gaming and Mac. Gaming is the more premium model, and Mac is the more value-oriented model, focusing on the basics, no RGB, stuff like that. Looking at the GPU first then, I've tried to put everything in the lineup as far as we have it at the moment. And there you can see this one, the 6600 XT is the Navi 23 XT. It is also based, like all the other 6000 series, on the RDNA 2 architecture, also a 7 nanometer process. It has the lowest CU, or compute unit count, so far, and that means also the ray accelerators, because with the 6000 series on AMD, that's basically a one-on-one, so as much CUs as it has, that's also the amount of ray tracers or ray accelerators it has, that's the right word. So it's 32. In terms of cores, it's 2048, so it's a little bit of a step down from the 6700 XT. But the Infinity Cache, as you can see, that's quite a drastic cut to it. So it goes from 96 megabytes on the 6700 XT to 32 megabytes on the 6600 XT. So that's quite a big step down there. In terms of memory, it has 8 gigs of GDDR6. Also compared to 12 gigs for the 6700 XT, it's a step down. But then again, I mean, it's really aimed at 1080p gaming. Some games can still use a lot of textures, but yeah, I think for most, if you're not really using it for high resolution gaming, at least for now, it should be okay.
It's also an interesting one, because usually you see that AMD usually gives kind of a lot of memory, VRAM usually on their cards.
Yeah, compared to the NVIDIA cards.
Compared to NVIDIA cards. Yep. Also what you, for example, see on the 3080 when comparing it to the 6800 XT. Yeah. But here, the 3060 actually is a 12 gig card, and the 6600 XT is an 8 gig card. So that's interesting to see. It's different than what we're used to from NVIDIA AMD.
Yeah, indeed.
But of course, it's not the whole story about performance. It's not just
indeed.
about.
So, I mean, these are just the specs, and that's why we just want to cover the specs quickly, and then in the end, we also want to show you the actual real life performance that we are getting here, and then you can be the judge in the end. Also interesting is the memory bus. So it's not just the size of the memory, but also the memory bus has been reduced to 128-bit, which is also quite a big difference. The bandwidth as well is quite a bit lower compared to its bigger brothers at 256 gigabytes per second. And the main thing that you really notice, and that you can see it on this card as well, is that it uses PCIe 4.0, of course, but it only uses 8 lanes. So that means if you look at the bottom at the connector, I don't know, maybe we can go to the close-up view quite quickly, Michiel.
Yes.
And this was pointed out by multiple reviewers already. I'll see if I can show it to you. But these lanes here, the PCIe lanes here, these you can see the traces coming up from the golden parts there, the gilded parts. That's the connector. And that on this side, actually, this part of the connector, there's no traces coming up from it. So that means that physically, this card is limited physically to 8 times 8, or 8 lanes of PCIe. And why I mention this is because this is relevant when it comes to your system. Because if you have a system like I have, with one of the latest motherboards, supports PCIe 4.0, no problem. Because 8 lanes of PCIe 4.0 should have around, or pretty much have the same amount of bandwidth as
100% identical.
Yes, did spot some difference that somebody mentioned, but anyway, yeah, there should be 100% the same bandwidth available. However, if you have an older system or an older motherboard and you want to use this card and your motherboard is limited to PCIe 3.0, then you will be limited to times 8 on PCIe 3.0, and that will, at least in some cases, can cost you some performance.
Yeah. Still, I think in most situations it should be kind of okay.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
But then you might, in certain specific situations, make
yes, indeed. And that when I say in certain situations, that's mostly down to higher resolution. Because obviously then your graphics card will be forced to use more bandwidth. It's going to have to stream more data, more textures, for example. And at that point, in some extreme cases, if you go looking for them, you might run into some issues. But yeah, if you stick to 1080p, in most cases, I think in pretty much all cases that we've seen, it should be fine because that's plenty. And as mentioned, if your motherboard uses PCIe 4.0 anyway, it shouldn't be an issue whatsoever. I see Nigerian is saying, I'm still using first gen Ryzen. Can't go with that then. Well, actually, Michiel is also using first gen Ryzen on his system, but of course that one is using a RX 580, so we'll see how that performs later on.
I'm using the Ryzen 7 1700X today.
Yeah. Gypsy Chris 1 is asking, can you crossfire them to regain the loss because of the lower skew? That's actually one of the big questions these days with crossfire. I mean, multi-GPU with DirectX 12 is definitely possible, but AMD has kind of ceased using the actual crossfire branding and the crossfire mentioning. So if you look at some of the latest GPUs like the 6600 XT on their website, you will notice that there's probably no mention whatsoever of crossfire. So yeah, at least I'm not comfortable saying it's not supported whatsoever, because you can probably find ways to make it work, but yeah, they're not really pushing it or mentioning it, so that's also kind of like a big sign that probably it's going to be a bit tricky to get it to work. And
the thing is also, even if you get it to work, many games nowadays don't support multi-GPU anymore. Game developers don't focus on multi-GPU anymore.
No.
So you see more and more that only single GPU is supported. So even though you have to, and even though from a technical perspective it can be supported either as a SLI on NVIDIA or Crossfire on AMD, if the game doesn't support it, it will not benefit you anyway. No. So especially these days, I would always recommend, if you want to have more performance, just go for that higher skew instead of adding a second lower skew card, basically.
Yeah. It drops today, but what time? It should be about 1.5 hours ago, Ace VFX. That was at least, that was the official launch day time thing. Yeah. Oh shoot, I just remembered something. The GPU is in the hands of Peter, which means he will disassemble it. Well, I can't guarantee you, but I do have my screwdriver handy. So if we have time, indeed, after all the benchmarking and stuff like that, then yeah, we might.
If everyone behaves in chat.
And it also really depends if you guys would be interested to see the inside. If you want to see a teardown, I mean, if you guys couldn't care less, then I'm not gonna bore you guys with it. Of course, it's a different GPU, it's a different graphics card build than what we've seen previously a little bit. So it's always interesting to see, but at least from my point of view, from a technical point of view. But yeah, I mean, it also depends if you guys are interested to hear that. If you're taking it apart, then where's Eric? He's on holiday, so that's. But usually when it comes to graphics cards, yeah, I'll be the one to take it apart instead of Eric, because we kind of have to. They have to remain in working order, let's say. If Eric gets his hands on it, then usually that means rip product, which is very upsetting to a lot of people. So we don't want to upset you guys quite that much, right? At least not at the moment. Maybe when there's a time when GPUs are as abundant as grains of sand, that people couldn't care less. Maybe at that point I'll ask Eric to do his thing on them, but for now I'll do it. And
CJ Bill says, "Oh, nice. I hope he has a nice holiday." Well, I think he had until now, because now he might have probably noticed that we stole his CPU.
Yeah. If he's watching, he's probably just getting a little bit anxious, but it's all right. It's gonna be fine. Your CPU is in good hands.
Perhaps. Otherwise, you get that 1700X.
Yeah. So Wilbert Sedino is saying, are you saying SLI doesn't matter any longer? It really depends on which perspective you're looking at it from. I mean, if you're a diehard...
if you want to break 3D Mark records, then sure, go ahead, take SLI.
And
for
then,
gaming,
yes, it matters.
Yeah.
Maybe even if you're a content creator and you're really relying on having multiple GPUs to do all the calculating at the same time.
Yeah, if you do rendering and stuff.
Done,
yeah.
Exactly. Then yes, it probably will still matter. If you're a gamer, no, I wouldn't say it matters that much anymore. It can in very specific situations, perhaps if you're like a hardcore diehard simulator fan, or you use that maybe. But you're very reliant on your game supporting it, and if your specific game doesn't, then that's kind of
then it's a wasted second graphics card.
Yeah, exactly. Besides that, it's almost never a 1+1 in terms of performance. You're never going to get 2 times the performance, and in most cases, you can only use the VRAM of one of the cards. So,
yeah, it's not like, for example, nowadays with SSDs, when you put 2 of them in RAID 0, then you can actually get like double the performance, like 100% scaling. It's not like that with graphics card. Like you already mentioned, you can only use the VRAM of the primary graphics card.
Yeah.
So no, you will never get 200% performance when using 2 of those cards.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't matter. If it matters, it really depends on your take on it and what you plan to do with it. But the fact is that it is getting less and less attention from both AMD and NVIDIA. I mean, if you just look at NVIDIA's lineup, then a couple of years ago it was even the 60 series was like 1060, 960. It used to support SLI. From the 10 series,
I think not even the 1060 anymore. I think
no,
that
exactly.
was 1070.
From the 10 series
it
was 1070 and up. From the 20 series it was 2080 and up, I think, and maybe 2070 Ti because I think it used pretty much the same.
2070 Super.
Oh, sorry, Super, yeah. Anyway, yes, the 2070
all the
Super.
TIs and the Supers.
Yeah, exactly. It was a bit confusing, of course. Anyway, and then this generation is only the 3090, so you can kind of see like they're literally physically phasing it out there. And who knows? Maybe it'll stay on the top end because of, for example, content creation and other uses, or maybe next generation it will be gone completely. Who knows? Yeah,
we don't actually know, but I wouldn't be surprised if it disappeared.
Yeah. I mean, you can see the direction it's headed. So. Yeah. And for AMD as well, I mean, yeah, we also noticed that they've kind of stopped using the Crossfire branding, so that also kind of makes clear that it's not really a focus for them anymore, even if it used to be a long time ago, a couple of years ago, I'd say. Yeah, I also indeed will, but I also remember SLI was a big deal for gamers years ago, but indeed.
Yeah, I've been running SLI and Crossfire in the past.
Yeah, same here. It was really nice to be able to do that. And like I said, there are some tricks still to be able to do it, but it's so dependent on, for example, game support, developer support, and stuff like that. So probably, seeing that the use of it is declining, probably game developers won't be spending quite as much time to support it as well either.
And usually, even if you get the same performance as a higher SKU with 2 lower SKUs, it doesn't mean that it gives you the same experience as well. Because usually, when you're running 2 graphics cards, your frame times will be slightly higher than what you would get with a single card offering the same FPS. Yeah. So you will still, even though your FPS might be on the same level, you will still not have the same fluent experience that you will have with the single card.
I think this used to be called this is known as micro stuttering.
Micro stuttering, indeed. Yeah.
Anyway, but in the end, ultimately, it's really up to you. If you really want to go for it, and then you still think it's the way to go, then more power to you.
Pervy Base says, I can get my hands on one card, and you're talking about 2.
Yes, I was going to say that as well. I mean,
okay, let's talk about the second card.
Of people not being or barely being able to get their hands on one card, then anyway.
Just imagine what would happen if SLI and Crossfire were still a big thing. Then people would buy even more cards. And
yeah, exactly.
You had even more shortage.
Yeah. Okay, and then just to kind of round off this part on the specs, well, because I don't want to linger in this too long as well. The TDP or power usage on this GPU is typically 160 watts. Can depend per card, so it can be just a little bit higher, maybe max 170 watts or something like that on a more powerful model. But yeah, compared to, for example, 230 watts on a 6700 XT, that's quite a big difference.
Yeah,
so that means that it requires a whole lot less cooling, which means that this twin frozer that I've got on here on this card is more than capable of doing the job. Anyway, we'll see that because I've got a little bit more as well. I promised you to show you a little bit more about the two models that we have. Of course, there are actually 4 models because there is an overclocked SKU and a non-overclocked version. These are the overclocked versions, but you've got the Gaming X and you've got the Gaming Non-X. So the Non-X is the non-overclocked. The difference is really not that big in terms of the factory overclock. I mean, both cards are identical. The only thing that's a little bit different are the game clock, and you've got the boost clock as well, but for AMD, the boost clock is like the actual max it can use or it can reach. So I've opted to include the game clock because they're more realistic and what you'll actually see in the game probably. But as you can see, I mean, even between the gaming and the Mac 2X, because it's got 2 fans, so that's why 2X. Is not that big as well, so it's a very small step in terms of game clock or boost clocks there. Other than that, both have 2 single 8-pin, or have a single 8-pin power connector, so also quite easy on that. The dimensions, of course, are just a little bit different, and the weight. So obviously the Mac will be, because it's a little bit lighter. Yeah.
Look, my update is done, and you can see it in your corner.
Yes.
That I started playing Valhalla.
I'm probably blocking it for you guys, but right where I'm sitting, or maybe just there, it just popped up. Anyway, so the gaming card is just a little bit heavier because it's got a little bit of a bigger heatsink, it's just a little bit higher build quality, I would say, in the end, and a bit more heatsink, especially because of the cooling capacity. But still, it's nowhere near those big 3-fan monsters, the Gaming X Trios or the Supremes that we've seen before. So these cards are relatively light compared to those other cards. So also for that, it means that there's no bracket, there's no support bracket included in the case, as far as I know, because it's really not necessary. If you just install this card properly and make sure it's fixed to the rear of the case with the expansion slot screws, and of course it's seated correctly in the PCIe slot, and all PCIe slots these days, pretty much all of them are designed to support heavier cards as well, so they've got more points of contact and they're a bit more beefy. So yeah, pretty solid. Looking at the benchmarks, before we go and do the benchmarks ourselves, I see some people asking in caps, how much does it cost? We can't say. I mean, I know the MSRP was, I think, what was it? Something like $380, $380. But in the current market, I can't really give you any meaningful answer, because any answer I can give you is either extremely local, and then in other countries they'll say, well, here it costs this much, so what you're saying is wrong, blah blah blah. If you want to find out what it costs, go to your biggest retailer in your region and try to find the card, and there you will find what it costs in your region. So yeah, it's really pointless for me to tell you any number other than what AMD already mentioned.
Peter?
Yes?
I think the update may have broken my Valhalla.
So you're not really going to Valhalla then?
I don't think so. I'm stuck on the loading screen.
Maybe reboot in a minute.
Yeah, I'll try to reboot in a minute.
Real-time tech support, guys.
No, it works.
Yeah.
It works.
So yeah, I mean, it really depends on which country you live in and then your shops. Anyway, yeah, to the performance then and the comparison. Here you can see, taken from TechSpot, who do a 12-game average. If you want to know more which games exactly, because they list them all out, and per game you'll have an overview as well. Then you can go over to their website or to Hardware Unboxed, because that's their YouTube channel. Yeah. What they have here is indeed what Mike already said. It's kind of in between the RTX 3060 Ti and 3060 performance. This is at 1080p, high settings, by the way. So yeah, you can really see it's just above the last generation's RX 5700 XT performance. But of course, it kind of has this. It has these ray tracing or ray accelerators.
Actually, according to this average, it's straight up in the middle between the 3060 and 3060 Ti.
Exactly. So there you go. We can't find the card; it's not up yet. Officially, it should be up, Armando, for the sales at the moment. But I guess it really depends on the region and your shop if they are, if they're putting it live or if they have stock. Might be that they don't have it yet, or maybe they just delayed the availability just by a bit. But it should be available for sales right now, officially.
Okay, my Valhalla works luckily. I think it was just me being impatient, not being used to a 4-year-old system anymore.
Oh, I mean, while installing that system, it's that was a whole interesting saga in and of itself, where we just try to get it to work, install a fresh Windows on it, and you just get it. That's how you appreciate just how far we've come in the past years. In the past few years, for example, the first gen Ryzen. And
we got these components. These 4-year-old components come off an old pile of hardware, basically.
Yeah. They've been sitting there on a shelf gathering dust for quite a long time, and then we have the bright idea of hey, let's put a system together of all those.
But they still work.
Old hardware components. It should still work, right? Yeah, I think so. And it does. But not without its quirks, let's say. But that just makes things interesting. The ray tracing on this card, of course, it may not be good if you compare it to, for example, NVIDIA. But again, this is the AMD's first generation of ray tracing support at all. So give it some time, and at least it's there. And so if you really want to make a comparison to the RX 5700 XT, for example, then one of the advantages you could point to is, of course, that it does have some ray tracing support. And of course, again, it may not be as good as the competitor, but it's progress. But of course, you can see here it doesn't really come close to the RX 6700 XT or 3070, at least not on the average. Again, it can really differ per game, as we have also seen in some of the games. And if you look at it at 4040p, I mean, this card really is meant for 1080p, and it's also what AMD claims. But if you have an average of 87, and of course this doesn't include all the, for example, if you would play Cyberpunk on it, then you will not have a fluid experience. But there's a whole lot of cards that just don't cut it for Cyberpunk. This is pretty much one of them as well, at least at 1440p. But pretty much there are quite a number of games that you could just play just fine even on 1440p with the 6600 XT as well. But also here, it's still in between the 3060 and 3060 Ti, but here you can really see the difference also in the memory and the memory bus, for example. That's really kicking in, because at the higher resolutions, in some games, it will have more of an impact. And that's why you see it's much closer to the 3060 at 1440p than the 3060 Ti. So not a bad card for 1440p, but it really depends on the game in the end.
Even though the 3060 Ti also has 8 gigs of memory.
Yeah, but I think the memory, especially the memory bandwidth,
is higher.
Yeah, and the bus,
sure.
so it's times 16. So again, in some games, some very specific scenarios, this can make a difference. And of course, I mean, we didn't include 4K because it's not really relevant for this card. This card is definitely not a 4K card, not really recommended.
Of course, you can do it.
Yes.
In esports titles, it will run perfectly fine, but in AAA titles, it will probably not be a good
But then
experience.
the question would be, why would you run esports titles in 4K unless you really enjoy
That's
their graphics?
the other question, indeed.
But most people, if they're really going for esports and competitive playing, let's put it like that, they will usually
1080p usually,
exactly.
Maximum 1440p.
Yeah, exactly. But usually they will, prefer
high
higher
FPS and high refresh rate
compared to the visual quality. Doesn't apply to everybody, so whatever you prefer, of course. Am I to assume this is at 60 FPS? PJ wants to play too. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. I think it already was clear to you. No, I mean, so we're always trying to aim for 60 FPS or more. That's pretty much what we see as a
comfortable gaming experience.
Yeah, as a bottom line of at least 60 FPS, and then it should be relatively.
Of course, 100 plus is even more comfortable, but like when you get below 60, then the experience is usually not so great anymore.
Yeah. 4K movie watching. Yeah, you could probably still get away with that
easily. Yeah,
probably. Maybe even 8K. I don't know. Inferno is saying it's not a 4K card. My last 3080 Ti didn't manage 2K. A 3080 Ti doesn't manage. I really wonder what game indeed. I mean, there will be some games. Like Cyberpunk maybe, or
with full ray tracing on,
yeah, indeed, or with Microsoft Flight Simulator maybe. I don't know. But then again, there's not a whole lot of hardware that and also manage 2K. Depends. Are you looking for a minimum of 360 FPS, or really depends on what you're looking for. Anyway. But yeah, so this at least gives you some kind of image and a feeling of where this card is in terms of performance on the average scale. So again, it really depends on per game. Some games it can still comfortably go over 100 FPS in 4040p. Other games it will tank way below 60. So yeah. Then we also yesterday were the first round of reviews basically. So that's where we got for example, the TechSpot data from. But today also the second round of reviews went online. So that means that you also get a bit more of a direct comparison between models as far as you can find right now. I mean, there's not a whole lot out there. We found on Tech Power Up, we found some results here. So here you can see our card compared to the Asus Strix, Sapphire Pulse, and the XFX Merc. And there you can see that, I mean, maybe it's not clear here, but on average, while gaming, so that's basically the right side of the table, even though the hotspot is 93 degrees, the GPU temperature is only 66 under load, and at a noise level of only 30 decibels. So that's very quiet actually. And it's a bit more clear when you look at it here, because they also did a direct comparison between the coolers to see just basically cooler efficiency, one-on-one comparison. So what they did was I think this is a they
normalized it at a noise level.
Yes, noise level, and also they forced all the cards to stay within the same 160 watt power limit. So yeah, pretty much trying to at least even the playing field and see then where it goes, and it's basically just to test the cooler performance against each other. On the left, you can basically see it plotted in a chart where the continuous line, the green line at the bottom, is the Gaming X model. And it's at the bottom because the temperature is the lowest. And on the right, you can see in the little graph as well that at the same noise level and using the same amount of power for I don't know how long exactly they tested this card, but it retains the lowest temperature.
And these normalized tests are quite interesting because it really shows you how good the cooler is.
Yes.
In the other tests, you can of course see speed and temperature, power draw, but that all comes down to fine tuning. And you can make quite a lot of differences with that. So for example, some cards are tuned to be more silent, but usually get a little bit hotter. Other ones are the other way around. But by normalizing the power draw and the noise level, you can really see how the actual cooler on the card performs.
Exactly. Because I mean, this slide, it gives you the out-of-the-box experience basically, and then Asus still has dual BIOS, but even their quiet BIOS is 4.4 decibels louder than our single BIOS that you get, where the temperature is about the same. Our GPU is just 1 degree higher in temperature than the Asus, for example, but quite a lot lower in noise. So if you really want to see or have the best cooler basically, then in this case our Gaming X, and I think we were this was mentioned in the reviews, multiple reviews as well, is that we always try to strike the right balance, between performance, cooling, and noise. So we want to maximize the performance you get. So of course we don't want to keep the noise low at the cost of performance. But at the same time, we also don't want it to sound like a friggin' leaf blower. I mean, you can always put the fans at 100% yourself if you don't really care about noise, and then you know it will get even cooler. But on a 160 watt card, it's not gonna heat up that much anyway. So yeah, this is the most efficient cooler, at least so far, that we've seen in the review. So yeah, happy about that. Our engineers did a good job, and it just shows again that we really try to find the right balance. And in this case, I think we did quite a good job at it. Oh, my bad. XFX and MSI are the same spec for spec. It depends on what specs you mean. Oh, okay, the memory boost and everything like that, yeah. Well, pretty much they are all the same. If you look at most of the cards, even the memory usually is not overclocked anyway out of the box on graphics cards, but the core clocks of the GPU itself are also very, very close. So there might be a couple of megahertz difference, but it probably will not be that much. At least not out of the box. All right, well, that's enough of the slides. I think it's maybe time for our first giveaway, Mike.
That's a very good idea. Let me get to the right system, that one. It's so confusing with 3 screens in front.
You got 3 screens there.
Yeah.
Good luck, buddy. All right, anyway, so if you want to participate, go to msi.com/2/insider or click the Gleam link in the YouTube or Twitch chat. And yeah, perform a couple of actions. The more actions you perform, the better your chance of winning. If you're a regular viewer and you participated regularly in our giveaway, you can also claim loyalty bonus points. You can do that every stream, so don't be afraid if you claim them once, you won't lose them. You keep building them up, you keep accruing them the more times you participate. And you can pretty much throw them in the mix every single stream. And it just adds to your chances of winning. In this case, a Assassin's Creed Valhalla game code. All right. Seems like we have our first winner.
Yes.
Mike?
Our first winner for today is Jason. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jason.
I'm pretty sure that there will be multiple Jasons watching. So
yes.
Just to make sure, it's only one Jason that won. And
yes.
that Jason will receive an email in the coming days with a code for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh, and just to be clear, he or she gave their nickname as being Jason. So we always try to read out the nickname, we always read out only the nickname there, because obviously we don't want to give real names or something like that. It's all we protect that kind of data. But that's also, it's important that you give some kind of nickname when you enter the giveaway, because if you don't, then the only choice we have is either to not give you a prize or to say
and the jury on says all the Jasons
yes.
going crazy right now. Indeed, that's what I try to avoid.
Anyway.
Yeah, we had it once before when someone thought it was even quite a big prize. I believe it was something with like a Core i7.
Yeah, the hardware prize, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And someone thought that he won, but it was a different person with the same name.
So it's we don't want to, or we want to prevent people from getting disappointed. So
we don't want
really what we're
people
saying
crying.
Is what we're saying is get a more unique nickname, guys. Come on.
Yes.
At least try.
If you're named Jason, then go change your name to make sure it's unique, that it's the only one in the world. Then you're sure that you are the winner.
Yeah. No, but I mean, to be fair, the more unique your name, and it's also more challenging for us to pronounce in some cases. But yeah, also the less chance you have. Of,
that was a good thing about Jason. It was easy to pronounce.
Yeah, that it is. Yeah, you made it really easy for us, Jason. So well, the prize is well deserved, I'd say. Thank you for that. All right. I need a Gaming X Trio coaster and mug. All right. Interesting. Cool. Yeah, we could look into that. I'm not really sure if we're into that kind of business, but who knows? We might be able to file it away under gaming gear.
By the way, you still need to do something.
I still need to do something.
Enable XMP.
Oh, yeah. Do I have to?
Yes.
Damn it. I'll have to log into
Otherwise, you will knock down your performance. It will run at 2133 if you don't enable it.
Who cares?
You got 3600 megahertz.
I'll give your rig a chance.
By nerfing your own rig.
Why are you complaining? All right, fair enough. I'll see if I can actually catch the moment that I get into the BIOS.
Just spam that delete button.
Format C. No, wait.
Crazy button bashing.
Exactly. XMP on an AMD CPU. Oh.
Yes, it's called AXMP.
Yes.
And you can definitely run
maybe,
XMP
if you want, you can. I think because
yeah.
I think you should capture it, right? No.
Not sure.
No.
Because I think
it doesn't.
When I use the capture card, it sees it as dual display, and I think it will only display the BIOS at one screen, so that will probably be your primary screen.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, let me just enable AXMP. Yeah, doesn't really matter the first or the second. Oh no, actually, we only have one profile. All right, fair enough. Yes.
Yeah, works.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you already get a blue screen?
Not yet. Waiting for it. Are you giving away multiple game codes? Higlot is saying yes, we are.
Of course.
Yes.
CJ Bill says that's me when trying to get into the BIOS, smacking the delete key as fast and as often as I can. Like in the past, you had plenty of time to press your delete button to get into the BIOS, but nowadays systems get a little bit faster at posting.
So, okay, what about this, Mike? Because you're also involved in MSI cases and stuff, right? What about a button at the outside of your case that gets you straight to the BIOS?
The BIOS button?
Yes, a go to BIOS button.
And you will also need a BIOS header on your motherboard to connect it.
Well,
yeah, maybe. But usually you go into your BIOS, you set everything, and then you don't touch it again. Like overclockers do, but
well, unless you have to build and break down.
And you also need like the physical practice of spamming that delete button.
Yeah, well, you know. No, but there used to be.
Keeps your finger in shape.
Wasn't there something in our software a long time ago or something that you had like a reboot into BIOS or something?
I think, but that's
I
a
remember
while ago,
something
I
like
think,
that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Wherever did that go? Indeed, it does save people like us, or if you have like a PC with like the world's fastest boot, then it's very easy to miss that millisecond where you actually have to press your delete key. So indeed, you're just spamming it in the hopes of that you catch
usually
that.
It works. Just spam the delete key and you will get in your BIOS. Work for you, right?
Well, yeah, but it's breaking my delete key though. I don't know if it can take the punishment.
So did you also have the? Oh, you're back. I see.
I'm back. Yeah.
I'm curious if you also have the update.
Oh, okay. We'll find out now, won't we?
Because I had an update that was over 10 gigs for.
Over 10 gigs.
Over 10 gigs.
All right. Okay. Well.
For Valhalla. But I think yours has been.
It looks like, and I hope I'm not jinxing it now, but it looks like I'm okay.
Okay, can you press play? Because that's I think when it started for me.
No, I'll do that now. All right. we can test it just for a second. Synchronizing.
No, I think it's fine.
I think it's fine, yeah.
Okay. Good.
What is the fastest boot? Well, it probably won't be on an AMD board. I know that.
Yeah, I think the Intel ones are usually a little bit also high-end desktop platforms.
Yeah.
So for example, TRX 40, but also Intel X299. They're usually a little bit slower with posting because they have a lot of stuff attached to that chipset.
Yeah.
And your motherboard will initialize all those devices. So that takes a little bit of time. So the more advanced system you have with the more devices attached to it, so that not only the ones you attach yourself, but also the ones that are attached to the chipset on the motherboard itself. The more you have, the longer it will of course take to post.
Yes.
So that's why you see that usually the mainstream platforms like AM4 that we're using today will post a little bit faster than, for example, TRX 40.
Yeah, and also it really depends. I mean, if you have, I don't know how many USB devices, if you utilize all your USB device, for example,
and all your PCI Express and your storage,
your SATA
etc.
Express, and indeed everything, then it's going to add to the boot time. So if you want to, and this is maybe unrelated, but in general, the tip is if you want to have the fastest boot time, just try and minimize the number of devices you have connected to your PC. Just if you can get away with a single hard drive and like a monitor, mouse, keyboard, and that's pretty much
that will
maybe a
give you a
headset,
slightly
whatever,
faster processor.
and that's it. Then that's going to be the fastest for you, pretty much.
But adding a few USB devices will only take very limited time for
Yeah.
this one.
Oh, and don't forget to enable your RGB. That's going to speed it up a lot.
That will give you 20 extra FPS.
Unplugs everything. Yeah.
I see a question on Twitch from Trade. Some info about the new X570S chipset. Next week we will have a whole live stream about X570S with our full X570S motherboard lineup. We will also talk about the new AMD Zen EPUs. So those are the 5000G series, and Martijn from AMD will also join us to talk about that. And we have a very special giveaway where we will give away 3 bundle kits consisting of a Ryzen 5 5600G APU and an MAG B550 Tomahawk motherboard. We will give away 3 of those bundles.
With that first GPU?
First GPU?
Yeah, the one you mentioned. Oh, sorry, the first CPU.
CPU, Ryzen 5 5600G.
You don't need a graphics card with that one, do you?
No, it's an APU. It has integrated graphics.
Okay.
You can win one next week.
I was going to
say, well, 3 people can win one next week.
That just made it, stonks more interesting, I would say.
For sure.
Anyway.
So next week, don't miss out. Same place, same time.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say we.
Let's first compare our systems a little bit. Can you maybe open HW info?
Why not? If you ask nicely.
And here you guys can see the retro look I have on my system. This is not something we did on purpose, but for some reason it's also not, for example, the low blue light feature in Windows.
We checked it indeed, and
it's something with the combination of
felt like, all right, so I'm the old system, then I'm going to look old.
Indeed.
How about that?
So the old graphics card in combination with the capture card,
Maybe it just got pissed off because it, it's like, oh, I'm being the old system. Fine.
Yeah. I think that should be it. It has like a vintage look, so in that sense, it fits.
Yes.
So I'm using the Ryzen 7 1700X. So this is also an 8-core CPU, 16 threads because it has simultaneous multi-threading. I have 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, clocked at 2666, which is like a common speed for a system that is 4 years old. I have, we had one SATA SSD, but then we wanted to install Valhalla.
It was only 240 gigs.
Yeah, 240 gigs. And then we wanted to have both F1 2021 and Valhalla.
And CSGO.
And CSGO. So but that one was okay.
And it was a fresh installation of Windows, guys. I mean, we did
so
it yesterday
games are getting big.
So there's really nothing else. Well, in the end, also I think, of course,
I've got a few like small programs. Yeah,
drivers, Afterburner, but I mean, Afterburner is so small.
Prime 95, HW info, nothing spectacular.
We
we had to add a second 240 gig SATA drive to be able to install F1 2021 as well. So now we have 2 SATA drives, both 240 gigabytes Kingston drives. What else do we have on that system? That's basically it. 750 watt power supply.
Yes.
It's a little bit overkill, but that's what we had.
Exactly. And we try to, I mean, in some ways we try to keep the systems comparative. In other ways, we also try to kind of keep it period accurate as much as possible. As in, the hardware and speeds you would generally see within, for example, 2017, around the launch of the, or just after the launch of.
This is also why
Ryzen, pretty much.
Peter is also using the stock Wraith Prism cooler from AMD. We did that on purpose because, of course, we could put like a higher end liquid cooler on there. But then he will, of course, get the extra performance from the additional cooling that he has instead of the real difference between the Ryzen 7 1700X and the Ryzen 7 5800X. So that's why we kind of nerfed him a bit on on the Wraith Prism cooler. Of course.
And then he asked me to enable XMP.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Anyway, did you enable XMP on that one?
Yeah, well, I didn't for this one. I manually clocked it to 2666 because I didn't have an old DDR4 kit, but DDR4 3600 was not at all common 4 years ago. It was extremely expensive, so it's not very likely that most viewers that have a 4-year-old system run DDR4 3600. So to make it a little bit more from that era, I manually clocked this DDR4 kit to 2666, which you can also see. It's a little bit small, but here you can see 1333 is double data rate memory, so times 2 is 2666, which is also the default clock for first gen Ryzen CPUs.
All right. I see. Well, I think it's an interesting question by Nigerian. Is asking, does AMD Advantage work with Ryzen 5000 CPU plus Radeon 6000 GPU? Like, does it have gaming advantages? I'm not sure if AMD Advantage is like a separate thing, but for example, smart access memory. Yes, there are advantages from using a current gen or last gen. The latest generation CPU and GPU together, yes. So, for example, things like smart access memory, and I think there are some other, a couple of things indeed that make them
you can
work.
do it on somewhat older CPUs nowadays as well. If you have like a 3000 series AMD, that will also, when combined with the right motherboard, it can also do smart access memory.
Yeah. But I mean, that's one very specific example. But in general, if you have or can get a Ryzen 5000 series CPU, in terms of performance, what is it? IPS or no? Iterations per second, or was it instructions per second? Yeah.
IPS. IPC, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, IPC.
Yeah, IPS is the one
per cycle.
Yeah.
Now I remember. Anyway, on the 5000 series CPUs, those are quite a bit improved from previous generations Ryzen. Anyway, I mean, between the 3000 series and the 5000, obviously the gap won't be that huge. For example, in
actually, it was quite a jump up. 5000 series has a very high IPC.
Yeah.
That's also why the gaming performance of the 5000 series are quite a jump up compared to
very
the 3000 series.
Yes. Yeah.
And that really has to do with that high IPC, that very good single core performance.
Yeah.
That's also why you see that, for example, a Ryzen 5 5600X is usually the better choice for gaming when comparing it to a Ryzen 7 3700X, because the IPC is higher. So even though it has 2 cores less, still even in multi-threaded workloads, because the single core performance is quite a bit higher, it's very close to the 3700X performance even in multi-threaded workloads.
And AMD Smart Access Memory is AMD's counterpart to resizable bar. I'm not sure who I would call counterpart, but yeah, they are the same principle-ish, indeed.
I would say the other way around. AMD first launched it, and then NVIDIA also introduced it.
So that's why I said I don't know who you want to call it the counterpart for who, but it's comparable indeed. It's just got a different name.
It's the same type of feature. It does basically the same.
Yeah. And I mean, in terms of how much that benefits, also very much it determines or is determined per game or even per setting. I think even pretty much with higher resolutions, you could get more benefit from smart access memory on lower resolutions with higher FPS. I think if I remember correctly, the benefits were scaled down basically. Anyway. All very interesting in terms of technologies, but real world performance differences. Then if you're looking at things like FSR, can be very interesting. Even though for this specific card, you might have noticed we haven't mentioned FSR or fidelity effects super resolution yet. That's because in terms of, we did a whole live stream about this a couple of weeks ago, by the way, about FSR, because we were also very excited. I think a lot of people are, because it's kind of AMD's answer to DLSS in a way, even though it's not, it's not one-on-one comparable or the same, but it has the same goal in mind. It just does it in a slightly different way. But yeah, if you want to use FSR at 1080p resolution, the results are not that great yet. But if you're using FSR, especially at 4K or 1440p, then yeah, it already can work pretty well in the games that support it so far. But yeah, for 1080p FSR, it's still an option. You can use it, but yeah, the impact on visual quality probably is somewhat noticeable. So yeah, if you really need the FPS boost and you don't care as much about the visual quality, then you can do that. But yeah, if you also wanted the game to really look good, not that recommended. Then you're probably better off, lowering your in-game settings just a tad away from Ultra.
By the way, some people may have already noticed, but I'm also running a very old school X370 motherboard, which is also an AM4 motherboard. So in that sense, we're still an AM4, even on Peter's system. Peter is running the very, very new MSI MAG X570S Tomahawk Max Wi-Fi.
Yes. I'm just gonna get
so
a refill.
Next week, more details about all the X570S models. We already had a live stream before where we covered the Torpedo and the Tomahawk, but of course we will have way more models, and next week we'll go into detail through all of them, and of course show them up close, etc.
Exactly.
Because we have all in the office.
Yeah.
So make sure to be there. So yeah, let's get going with my vintage look. I actually do kind of like it. Because it's very easy to see what's the old system and what's the new system.
Yeah. Well,
It's not even that bad.
We've intentionally made it clear for you guys which one is the older one and which not. I hope you guys can tell.
Very intentional.
Exactly. Yeah. Completely. That was the idea. Anyway, let's kick the tires and light the fires, or.
Yeah. Let's kick it off with Counter-Strike, right?
Yes. Yeah. So start off easy, basically, for the graphics card at least. And let us know. I hope the sound level is not too high. We don't hear the sound, by the way, so it's not like we're not going to do a competitive game and bore people with that. But what we will do is see if we can do like a little bit of a co-op, or at least both get into the same server.
I'm creating a little bit of space.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I will knock everything over.
Wait. I didn't, or did I? Did I start Afterburner?
There we go.
Yeah, I hope you guys can see if it works. Yeah.
If the stream all of a sudden stops, then I hit the streaming PC.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys. For those of you with anxiety or something like that, Mike is using a low resolution on his mouse always. So that means that, or low sensitivity, I have to say, which means that he's using a lot more space to move. To move basically. And
usually I use this much space, and now I have this much space on my
so
desk.
if he knocks his complete setup off the table, it can happen. Yeah.
I had this encounter with a bottle of soda on my desk, and it went all over my keyboard. So yeah, low sensitivity. I think it's nice for gaming, but I wouldn't recommend it if your hardware is precious to you.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, by the way,
how do I join you, by the way?
Yeah, you might be wondering why it says this, trusted launch, blah blah, and it's not trusted. That's because we had to apply a launch option to allow OSD to work
to show you
in CSGO indeed, because it didn't work in vanilla. So we had to. It's like a launch option. I think it's was it allow third-party software or something like this. Anyway. It's been so long since I played.
My FPS right now is slightly higher than yours. Oh, now it's a bit lower.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Like in the menu, I'm still fine.
Are you already in a? Wait. I'm trying to see if we can both join the same thing. Can you accept?
What?
Yes.
Play game.
There we go. Okay. I hope we can. It will still enable us to join a server together, even though we're not using the trusted module. I mean, the reason why Valve did that, I think, as far as I can read, is that some of the cheat programs can also maybe piggyback or use the same kind of level of access to show stuff on stream that tools like Afterburner on-screen display does. So I guess in an effort to try and nail the doors and the walls and everything shut for cheaters, they also had to do that. Anyway.
Yours is already loaded. I'm still waiting.
There's a difference already.
That's unfair.
Alright, let's see. Come on. When's the spawn protections coming off? Come on. There we go. Bye.
Should I pick terrorist or counter-terrorist?
I'm CT.
Okay.
But it doesn't really matter, really.
It did already put me in...
Oh, it's probably because we're teamed up.
Ah, okay.
By the way, this little disclaimer, Mike isn't really a experienced Counter-Strike player.
Not at all.
I don't know if I can call myself an experienced player at this point, because I haven't played it for a long time, which is, I'm already making up excuses, but it is also true. But I used to play it, so at least I'm a bit familiar with it.
I'm more of the arena shooter, Quake, Unreal Tournament, those kind of games.
See, Mike already got him. But yeah, you can see. I mean, obviously we're playing, but we really want to draw your attention to the FPS performance of our systems respectively. So you can see I'm getting a solid 300 up to 400.
Oh, I got a
FPS.
random weapon.
Yeah, you can, every time you spawn, if you click F3 just one time, it kind of disables the random weapon assignment thing. And then you can press B at the beginning of the round, but you have to do it quickly, otherwise you miss your window.
No, I still have a random weapon, but...
Yeah, same here. I'm waiting
now I disabled it.
for myself to die, basically, so I can buy a different one. But yeah, I'm getting a very smooth experience with 300 plus FPS, 370, 380.
I'm running a little bit over 200 now, which is also for... It still feels fine.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, so just so that we don't forget, maybe we can also show them the graphic settings, because in this case we really opted to go for the the max FPS setting. So what I did is I put everything on low pretty much, and so did Mike. We're using the exact same settings as you can see. 1080p, obviously, just full screen, everything like that. And then I think I put, you know, in the console I put max FPS at 999. So basically no limitation there. Hello, Mr. Alt. There we go.
So now I have the automatic buying thing off, but I still get the same weapon all the time.
Yeah, you have to kind of press a button at the beginning of the round, so that you can, and that's a B for buy. You get the buy menu, and then you can select different buttons. Wow. Okay, I better select something else.
Use your health shot. How do I do that?
Scroll, and then I don't know.
Actually. There it is. X.
X. Okay.
It says. Yeah. Oh no, it's not. Oh no. There's a guy. I was trying to use my health shot.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I never really used the health shots in this. As far as I mean, I never really. That sounds like I play this all the time, but I don't. Okay. But yeah, back when I played this game, you didn't even have health shots, so I really never got used to that. Yeah, at least not in deathmatch. So I just basically run around, shoot people. Like many people who used to play this game, I guess, we use it more as a warm-up, you know, like a let's see if I can still aim type of thing. Oh, which obviously the answer is no. But yeah, I mean, in terms of performance, and that's really I think the most important thing here because we're talking about the hardware. Somewhere between 350 FPS and 400.
This is where you can really see the difference between the newer CPU that you're using.
Yeah, because it's more the CPU determining the level of performance here. Because the FPS is quite high, and then at that point you're more limited by the draw calls that your CPU can handle at the same time.
Yeah, so here the higher IPC of the newer Ryzen CPU really helps when comparing it to the first generation.
Damn.
Yeah,
I completely forgot that this...
Around 200 FPS, sometimes even a little below.
Oh, but I didn't kill him. Come on.
You're like stable over 300, right?
Damn. Yeah, consistently indeed.
Yeah.
Very consistent actually.
Oh, I was scratching my nose and then I got shot.
Don't do that. Oh yeah, by the way, this is a completely new account as you can see, because I just got some kind of achievement for, I don't know, 10 kills in total, or if it's, you know, dominating 10 people.
What I really don't like about CSGO is how much you slow down when you get shot.
Yeah, it does affect your movement speed indeed. But yeah, I mean, CSGO is really not a... It's a bit more of a tactical shooter than a Twitch shooter, I'd say. So you've got you've got those really Twitch shooters and arena shooters and stuff like that, and they're really, I mean, you've got that really fluid movement speed. And,
it's really, it's fast, it's all about movement and aiming, and this is more about tactics.
Yeah, and also your I'm not sure, most arena shooters your movement doesn't really affect your accuracy, does it?
No, indeed.
Yeah, there you go. So it doesn't matter if you're jumping or whatever, you can still shoot this with the same accuracy. In this game, obviously, if you're moving, your accuracy
Do people have spawn protection?
Yes.
Okay, that's why I died and he didn't.
Transparent or see-through,
Yeah.
That means they've got spawn protection.
I hit him a couple of times in the face and then I died somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was somewhat transparent.
Yes, that means he has spawn protection. Wow. I've gotten really bad at this game. But that's not the point. I mean, and I can't really blame the hardware for it, because the hardware is excellent in this case. It's a very smooth experience. It's very responsive.
But still, Ryzen 1700X with an RX 580, not too shabby.
No, but I mean, you'd expect that in a game like this.
Yeah.
To be fair, this game is what, vintage 2012?
Yeah.
Or 2012?
Yeah, the game is even much older than this system.
Yes. And to be fair, I mean, most competitive games are built to run on most games, or most PCs anyway, because they want their audience to be as big as possible. So that means that it has to be able to run on as many different PCs or systems as possible. All right, so ended up, what was it, third? Anyway, no, second actually. Never mind.
I don't even know how to see that.
To see some good snipes. There's some quick scopes. I'm not sure if we can do that. But yeah, 300. I mean, to be fair, when I used to play this game, I never really put things on the lowest settings, because I never really had to with a pretty decent system.
I actually had more kills than I died.
Yeah, that's good. Positive KD ratio.
Yeah.
So what we can do now, maybe just for fun, is to put all the settings on maximum and then see what happens. You know, because it's still a competitive title. So I'm expecting it shouldn't impact too much, but just out of curiosity. So just put everything on basically its auto setting, at least for me, which is basically just the highest setting for everything.
Okay, auto high.
Yep.
So also let me see, effect detail.
Not the vertical sync, not the motion blur. God, no.
Boost player contrast on?
Yes.
Let's go render, yeah.
So basically, I went high, enabled, effect detail high, shader detail very high, boost player contrast enabled, multiple rendering stayed at enabled, multi-sampling anti-aliasing mode 8 times MSIA, FXAA anti-aliasing enabled,
you only have
filtering mode.
Let me see.
16, or 16 times, and the rest is basically disabled, other than use Uber shaders enabled.
Oh, wait, I still have that one disabled.
Yeah.
I'm trying to apply, but
yeah,
it takes a while.
Because very possibly the game might crash.
Yeah, it did.
There you go. But that does mean that once you go back into the game, it should hopefully be applied.
It should.
Crank it to 11. Exactly. That's what we're doing.
Is this a common quirk of CS:GO? Oh wait.
Yeah.
We're back. I didn't even have to restart it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe just, it kind of acts like it's crashing to desktop, but it may still be running in the background.
I still need to enable my Uber shaders.
Yeah.
I might crash back to desktop again.
Next time, can you play Valorant instead of CS:GO? Sure.
We try to mix it up a bit. Sometimes we also have Valorant.
Yeah. But if there's like a specific reason that you think Valorant is more relevant in this case, or has specific things that you think are more relevant to display, basically we were just looking for a very common and very popular competitive title to show you guys. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people are playing Valorant.
I already died 8 times while putting in my settings.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, it's probably the same for me. Ah, crap! I can't buy a weapon, so I guess I'll have to die first. Come on, hit me! Hit me! Come on. Don't make me kill you. Oh, donkey. Somebody else killed him. I'm just gonna suicide knife rush somebody here. Yeah, get me! There we go. Okay. Just the M4.
My FPS is a bit lower now, but it's not even that much of a difference because it's so CPU bound, this game.
Yeah. Yeah, mine as well. It's at around 300 now. 300. Yes, I think maybe sometimes it dips below the 300. I'm not even sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, spawn protection. That's annoying. Like, you're at a disadvantage when the other guy is spawning.
Of course.
Because he can shoot me while he has this.
Well, as soon as he shoots though, he should lose his spawn protection. So at that point, you can shoot him. So.
Yeah, but I shoot him 5 times in the face,
yes.
And then I reload, and he starts shooting me face.
Well, if you only realize that he has spawn protection by the time you've already shot him 5 times in the face, then I guess he has an advantage. Yes. Try not to injure your
Jesse
teammates.
says Overwatch gets no love. I don't think we have indeed played Overwatch on stream before.
Not really, but also, I mean, if you really want to look at some of the lightest games to play your to display the performance of competitive games, then Overwatch is, I want to say, somewhere in the middle, because it does still require and use quite some GPU if you really want it to. I'm tempted to say the same about Rainbow Six Siege, but then again, I don't honestly know enough about it to be able to make that claim. But I do think it's graphically just slightly more demanding than CS:GO. But still, I mean, this experience I have right here is still very, very smooth when it comes to FPS. I mean, yeah, sure, I went from 350 to 400 FPS to 250 to 300-ish, and sometimes just a little bit above. But
there is a spawn protected guy here. And it's off.
Damn. He was already on top of me.
Oh, 5 health.
Really, the annoying thing is that you don't have sound in a game like this, where sound is quite important. But then again, this is just deathmatch, so it's
doable with that.
Of course. Just need a couple of liters of coffee. and some Red Bull, maybe. Anyway, still a pretty decent experience, I'd say.
Yeah, here as well. Counter-Strike, no issue for either system. So if you only play Counter-Strike and you're still on Ryzen 1, no need to upgrade yet. Unless you want to buy, for example, a 360
What are the temps of the GPU?
Hz monitor.
Aha, I knew this question would come up. So what I'll do is, maybe Mike can do the same in monitoring. We can enable the GPU temperature and GPU usage.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I hope this is still visible for you guys, by the way. And I'm not sure if you hear like a howling fan.
Which ones did you want? GPU usage?
GPU temperature and GPU usage, yes. At least those are the ones I selected. They'll appear on the same line, so it doesn't really take that much extra space in your in the overview.
Okay.
Alright, this guy is a bit more skilled.
Yeah, I don't think you guys can see my GPU usage because that one is hidden behind Peter's screen right now.
Oh!
That
Yeah,
one
you'd
falls
have
off on
to-
the side for me.
You'd have to change it indeed, just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Wait,
Change the location.
why am I only getting a pistol? I can grab someone else's weapon, right?
No, not
Oh.
in this mode.
So I'm stuck with the pistol.
No. You can once you respawn, you can press B for the buy menu and then get yourself a different weapon.
Okay, I got an AUG now. Is that a good weapon? Oh.
It's decent, I guess. It's got a small scope on it, so you can at least you can zoom in just a little bit. I used to like this one actually. It's pretty good. So I mean, you've got most people probably just use the M4 or the AK. The only problem with those is that you don't get a scope. So for long
Wait, why does
distance,
it unscopes when I shoot?
does it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Well, I'm not sure if you. It depends on your settings. If you have to hold down your.
Yeah, I think it's not on hold. It's on toggle.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
Oh, double kill. Nice.
And then you got shot, and he kills me as well, the guy.
Oh, need to use my health shot. Oh, there was a guy. I'd say the AUG is pretty decent indeed.
Yeah. I think especially the penetration and damage values are pretty okay. Like armor penetration, I mean. Even though I don't think you get armor in this, in deathmatch. Like in the normal game and in competitive and stuff, like you can actually buy like body armor and stuff like that, which makes you a bit more resilient. But this this weapon, for example, I think can shoot through things like crates
Ah, yeah.
and some wood. All right. Anyway, still a pretty decent experience. And the temperatures, yeah, I mean 53 degrees, 50, 54, 55 maybe. That's definitely, you know.
Mine's also pretty low.
Yeah.
A few degrees higher.
Yeah.
Not much of a difference. But my FPS is quite a bit lower.
Yeah, but it's mainly due to the. Oh, maybe I can actually move. I think I should move my OSD a little bit. So it will be maybe 900 or something like that. Because you didn't see some of the stuff now, some of the text. Why 1080p? Because that's really the resolution that this card is aimed at, and yeah, especially also with some of the competitive titles, that's pretty much what you play at. You can play it at a higher resolution, but most people don't do that. Next game to test FPS is Solitaire. Lol. Is this supposed to be a test of the GPU or the CPU? Both, actually. We're basically just comparing systems, and
I'm trying to get my
indirectly,
percentage.
it's indirectly a comparison of the GPUs, but because the systems are also different, I mean, it's not a one-on-one comparison of the GPUs. But we thought it was more interesting, like, you know, what if we take a system that was kind of, you know, typical for 2017-ish, when the RX 580 came out, and a card that probably a lot of people are still using. It's around 1060-ish performance. And the 1060 is, yeah, I mean, still the most used card according to the Steam hardware survey. So yeah, what happens if you compare it to that? And it's basically to give you some idea of what if you upgrade from a 1060 level performance, or a 580 if you have that, to this card that we're talking about today, the 6600 XT. What kind of difference? And of course, it's not just the GPU, it's also the CPU, so it's not a one-on-one, okay, if I upgrade to this card, it's going to get me this performance. It's the whole package. But I think it's about time that we looked at more or different games as well.
A very different game, the next one.
Yes. Probably something with racing, maybe. Is up next.
Repo Man says, yeah, enough RGB. You've got RGB, that's why your FPS is higher than mine. I don't have any RGB in my system.
Yeah, newer hardware does have FPS. Oh, sorry, it does have FPS. It has FPS as well, but it also has RGB. So yeah, but based on that, it will do a lot better.
I genuinely hate the spawn protection in this game.
If you're not used to it, yeah, that's. I can understand that.
In my arena shooters, I love to spawn kill my
yeah, I think this is, it's like an anti-bullying thing. You can see it.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
I like to bully them.
I know you are like a bully.
Oh, I don't have a health shot. Health shot? How do you get that?
Oh. I think you get it if you're injured at some point during the.
Yeah, now I got it. I killed someone and then I got it.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, like actually, I don't know, to be fair,
because I already was injured.
That's how long it took, or how long ago it's been since I really played this game.
The chicken was distracting me. Mike is just a spawn kill bully. Yes, I am, for sure.
Just don't upgrade the 6600 XT into a PCIe Gen 3 system because that will hurt performance. Well, it doesn't hurt performance right away, but yeah, in some cases, it will. You will be at a slight disadvantage when it comes to, for example, higher resolution gaming. You will be more likely to be limited or have some performance impact.
I got a bonus weapon, but it seems like it's much weaker than my original weapon.
No, I mean, it's not about the weapon. This is about points. And every kill, a headshot, for example, will get you more points than just a regular kill. Or a knife kill will get you even more points. So it's all about the points tally at the end of this game.
Okay.
And the bonus weapon, what it does is, if you get a kill with it, it will give you more points than a regular weapon kill. Oh, wait.
So that's how it works.
Yes. That's how it works. Oh, there's another one. But most people will probably just stick with a single weapon, the one that they like the most.
Yeah, I'm also doing that indeed.
Just because then it becomes a little bit more easy to predict.
Yeah, we're indeed both running an open bench. So neither of the systems is in a case or something.
Yeah, indeed. So also the cooling, basically both are air-cooled CPUs and graphics cards. Mike is just a spawn kill bully. Yeah, exactly. So if you guys remember those from the old days, Mike is a typical spawn kill bully.
I am for sure. I'm not even gonna deny.
I mean, you probably did it to Eric as well, right?
Yeah.
When you, I know there was somebody behind me, but... Hey, Mike.
Okay, almost dead.
Oh. I used to be able to spray like that, just easy. These days I have to take my time aiming and then hope I can still hit people.
Yeah, like I've got 5 health. He has got a spawn protection and he just waits, aims at me, I cannot do a thing, shoots me, I'm dead. Like I couldn't hit him before.
That's why you kind of have to.
Spawn protection.
The best thing you can do with people with spawn protection is either go behind them so they don't see you yet, or just ignore them altogether. Because it's they will indeed at the most weird moment just come to life and then suddenly start shooting you. Well, you couldn't harm them before.
Yeah.
This is the way of spawn protection. Oh, damn! I didn't see that guy there.
Oh, one behind me.
So after this game, we will move on to F1 2021. And in F1 2021, what we can do is we can run a simultaneous benchmark. So basically, try to start the same benchmark at the exact same time.
With the exact same settings?
Yes, that's the goal. Oh.
Merry Christmas.
Well, yeah. two guys came through the door at the same time, and I wanted to shoot them both, but apparently didn't quite make it. Oh, now there was some guy at short A as well. Oh. Damn, my M4 didn't have enough penetration to get through the door.
Okay, he just spawned straight up next to me, behind me. Great.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. It's sometimes can be quite frustrating when that happens. But it's the same for everyone. It's randomized spawn points, so it's not just you that gets people spawning behind them. It's everybody. But I'm not sure. I mean, what's your strategy to try and win? Is it to find one spot that you can defend?
No,
or is it,
run and gun.
Okay, run and gun. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm pretty much doing as well. Even though sometimes I do linger along the same parts a little bit.
But you have map knowledge. I don't.
Sorry?
But you've got map knowledge. I
A
don't.
little bit, yeah. But I mean, there's not a whole lot
Oh, one behind me.
to these maps because it's not like you can really camp. Well, you can, but then it's really dependent on if people actually come to that specific spot. Oh, 5 HP. Oh, I would really love a grenade right now.
The recoil doesn't go with your crosshair, doesn't it?
Sorry?
The recoil is different from your crosshair.
Probably.
Because your crosshair is steady in this game.
Oh, it depends. I actually have one that's more dynamic. So that means that if I run, some of it will kind of dissipate, some of the crosshair, to indicate that my accuracy is less. But I always used to use the static crosshair as well, indeed. Anyway.
Yeah, for example, in PUBG you have the recoil also moves your crosshair around, so when you're aiming, you can see what your recoil is and compensate for it.
Yeah.
But here you need to basically know the pattern from the game, I think.
Exactly. Anyway, okay, so you see it, guys. So Mike's FPS was just a bit different than mine.
But still,
a bit lower.
Yeah.
But still pretty okay.
Yeah, quite okay.
So far. And that's at max settings at 1080p. So you're probably unlikely to do that anyway, if you're really going for the max competitive edge. Next up is F1 2021. But before we do that, I think maybe do a giveaway.
That's a very good idea. F1 2021, right? Then I already start that one.
Yes, same here. So while the game is booting, you can still win several codes of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is the last game up today for real-time testing, side by side. And yeah, go to msi.com/2/insider or follow the Gleam link in the chat on YouTube or Twitch. And there you perform a couple of actions. If you're a regular viewer, you can claim loyalty bonus points. So definitely do that. That's helped a lot of people get prizes in the past.
We definitely have a more unique nickname this time. So I don't think there will be a lot of doubt of who won. Congratulations, Ovivio. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, but you also won a code for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Congratulations. If you haven't participated yet, make sure to do so, because we'll have some more keys later on.
Exactly. Okay.
F1 time.
F1 time. Time for F1.
So you've played this with Ja.
I have, yeah, but it's already like
was it good?
2 or 3 weeks ago. It was fun, yeah. It was really good. But it's if you're not used to it, because as you can see, guys, now I'm taking out the controller. Obviously,
I'm not used to a controller for this game.
Yeah.
I have played a little bit of F1 before, not that much, but then I use a steering wheel.
Actually, the controller is not working for some reason. So I guess I just have to unplug it and plug it back in. That will usually sort it. Yes, that will sort it. Maybe we can go back to the capture, Mike, because people are watching the main.
There we go.
Yes. Okay, just before we do that, also just take a look at the game options so you guys can see what exactly the settings are that we're running, if actually you can see it, because it's a bit...
Game options? Well, I can switch in between.
Yeah, but now
this
people
is
can
mine,
see...
that's yours.
Yeah,
there we go.
Sure. So basically we've both taken the same options. Advanced setup, so basically custom... I wanted to go for ultra high, but then it automatically puts all the ray tracing stuff on. So I only, put that off. The rest I've put on the ultra preset. Mike will do the same.
Yeah, I've got mine here.
Yeah.
I don't even get the ray tracing options, of course, because my card cannot do ray tracing.
Yes. And then in terms of video mode, some things there might be relevant as well. As you can see here, it says also the
where do you have the video mode?
Full HD, obviously, full screen, aspect ratio, auto, VSync off, refresh rate, put at auto, even though our two monitors have a little bit different refresh rate, but it doesn't matter for...
it doesn't matter for how much it will render.
Exactly, yeah. Maximum FPS is also, there's no frame rate limit, so that doesn't matter. Anisotropic filtering is on 6x16, because basically we just really want to get that 1080p ultra experience.
Just switching in between the settings a bit, so...
Yeah.
My aspect ratio is fixed, but of course I can put it at auto. I use a 16:9 screen as well.
Yeah. And anti-aliasing is on TAA. Dynamic resolution is off.
Yep.
Are you guys F1 fans too? Yeah.
I actually went to the race in Hungary last one.
I think we were joking about this before, but I think this season is going to be, you're going to be able to tell people about it or remind them about it in one sentence, and that sentence is turn one incident. That's probably going to be like the line that people will be like, you're talking about 2021. Yeah, I remember that year.
I'm going to restart the game, by the way, because I'm not getting my FPS counter.
Okay.
And we will need that one.
Is there an email address for support making an MSI? How do you mean, Michelle? Are you looking for support on some hardware or to make a support account? I think you can go to, if you go to the website, you can find all the support information there, and you can register, an account with your email address if you need any kind of support like RMA or something like that, but not sure if that's what you're referring to. This season is certainly more interesting than last season.
Can I play with the Mercedes so you can take a Red Bull? Then I know what to do.
No, you know what to do.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I also know what to do. I have to stay the hell away from you. As far as possible.
I'm looking for your right rear tire.
That, or you need to find Lando Norris and kind of...
yeah, just bump him into you.
Exactly. Let's see.
I'm not sure why, but I'm not getting my FPS counter.
Oh. Maybe restart Afterburner or something?
Yeah, we'll try.
You guys will replicate the turn one incident too. We tried to do that actually. I think 2 or 3 weeks ago we had a live stream, me and Ja, about this game as well, to feature it and some of the ray tracing effect in it. But yeah, we tried to do that, but it's quite difficult actually. Although I've seen a lot of brilliant reviews that refer to the real life season now on Steam that say this game just got a whole lot more realistic in terms of the online gameplay. Honestly, I don't play online, but I've heard that it's also a lot of turn one crashes, people braking too late and stuff like that. So it did add to the immersiveness of the game, apparently.
Okay, I'm back with.
There you go. Good. And I
diagnostics.
think. Yeah, first we're going to do a benchmark then,
Okay.
I would say. Because we've got the same settings, and so now it's really easy to then, so you have to go to graphics settings again, and then there's benchmark mode. Yeah. Benchmark mode, it's
Yes.
under video mode. So you click that, I think I think the track, Bahrain?
No, Hungary.
Hungary.
That's the last one we had.
All right,
And
fine.
it was wet.
Fine, yeah, wet. Camera mode cycle, right?
Yep.
Number of laps 1. Show FPS counter on. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
look
matter, we
benchmark
have
test
our
off.
FPS counter. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and run.
Run.
Go. So you can see in real time the performance of both rigs.
Yours is faster at loading. I should have started earlier.
Unfortunately, that happens. But we'll get an end screen as well, so you can already pretty much see at the moment. Although I'm wondering. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought your the 63 number on your GPU was the usage, but that's
It's the temperature.
Yeah. So it's 100% usage. Mine is at
97.
97. But yeah, you can see. I think, what's your FPS? Is it 60?
66.
Yeah.
67, 70.
So that's really a big jump.
Yeah.
Mine is at comfortably at 140 plus. Yeah, they should maybe make a benchmark with a turn one incident.
Yeah,
as
this
well.
is an unrealistic benchmark.
Yes. Yeah. This never happens in real life, guys. It doesn't go like this.
But yeah, your FPS is significantly higher in this game.
Yes.
Much bigger difference.
At least in the benchmark. But I think
Yeah.
after this, we might also just do a small race or something to see. Because the benchmark is an indication, but it's not always the exact number or representative of the exact experience you will get in the actual game. More than double the performance, yes, indeed, yeah. But there you really can see the difference, and it's not just the GPU either. It's maybe a little bit of the CPU mixed in as well, and the memory, but it's mainly the GPU that's causing this difference in performance. And to be fair, the RX 580 Polaris-based GPU and the 6600 XT second generation Navi, basically, that we have here, they are pretty much like 4 years apart, right? There's about 4 years of development in there, and they're also using a different architecture. So yeah, you can really tell the progress booked here as well.
Fernando Alonso was my race winner.
Oh, I don't know who mine was actually. I wasn't paying attention to that.
Well, at least it's an Alpine.
Exactly. All right. So now we get side by side,
Alpine,
we get
as it should be pronounced.
the results. My total frames is 16,500. What's yours?
A little short of 8,000.
There you go. So mine is indeed over 2 times the performance. Minimum FPS?
59.
Okay, that's just short of 60, so it's doable. 126 for me. Average 141.
67 here.
All right, and maximum 153.
77.
Frame times, mine are 6.5 milliseconds to 8 at most.
Mine are 13 to almost 17.
Wow. So there you have it. So it's not just the FPS, it's also the frame time was much more on the older rig. In terms of temperatures, it's not that big of a difference. I mean, obviously the card that Mike has, the RX 580 Mac 2, I think it was. Yeah, it was the Mac 2. It's also like a dual fan card. It's still pretty damn decent at 66 degrees, and I don't really I mean, the fans will be spinning, but I doubt it's very audible. So it's still quite...
Yeah, right now they're spinning indeed.
Yeah. The RX 580 is actually a refresh of the older architecture. That's right. Because the original architecture pretty much was the 400 series.
Yeah, Polaris is from 2016.
Yes, July, if I remember correctly, July 2016 or something like that. And so basically the 500 series or the 580 was a bit of a, the process had matured by a little bit, so they were able to get more or higher clock speeds out of it. Even though it wasn't massively more, but it was a bit higher, and that's pretty much what the 580 is compared to the 480. It's just a little bit higher clocked.
It's also a bit like that with, for example, first generation Ryzen to second generation Ryzen.
Yeah.
It's some optimization. It went
maturing of the process.
Yeah, 14 nanometer to 12 nanometer, bumped up the clock speeds a little bit, but most of it architecture is the same.
And I mean, our point is not really to say, go out and buy this GPU now. The point why we're showing this as well is just to show you guys a comparison of a PC that was pretty friggin' decent in 2017. And if you're still using that kind of, or that level of hardware, which I think is, for a lot of people still is just fine. And we just want to show you guys, in some games at least, what kind of jump you can expect if you were to, at any point in the next year or something, upgrade your PC, be it just your GPU or maybe even your complete platform, to a more recent one, to show you, where the performance is, what kind of performance you can expect, and if there's a huge difference at all. And like in games like CS:GO, there is some difference, mainly down to the CPU. Basically, the GPU doesn't really factor in that much. Because of its already way higher FPS count, but in games like F1 2021 here you can already see that the GPU also has a bigger impact in terms of performance, and in the last game we played today we expect it will play an even bigger role. No, this is not a pre-recorded stream, Goosh, or I don't know how to pronounce that. But.
Nope. Shall we get multiplayer, playing multiplayer a little bit?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think so, indeed. But just
do you
like
know how to start one?
A custom lobby. I'm trying to remember actually. I think so. Social play.
Shall we do Hungary in the dry now? It's a bit easier.
Yeah. Actually, no. How to? Oh yeah, LAN game. That was it. I think. Host a LAN game. Yes. Create a lobby. I think you then have to join the LAN game.
Okay.
So go to multiplayer and then LAN game.
Yes.
Testing in 4K in the planning. It's a bit outdated, maybe, but according to, for example, Steam hardware survey, what was it? Like over 60% of people are still playing on 1080p, whereas, for example, 4K, it's what was it? 4% or something like that. Quite low. So that's not to say it's not relevant, because it is the future, obviously. But and also for this card, the goal for this card, as mentioned by AMD, they're not really aiming at 4K. You can still get away with it in some games, but especially at 4K, the times 18 slot, the times 18, times 8 PCIe 4.0 should be fine as long as your motherboard supports PCIe Generation 4. Or, if your motherboard doesn't, if it's still on the third generation of PCIe, you might start noticing some drawbacks, especially at higher resolutions, because that's really not what this card is made for.
Can you switch off steering assist?
I don't know, actually. Do we?
I think you can. Let me see.
So this card really targets, just like Nigerian is saying as well, it is really... this card targets competitive gaming, or at least high FPS, high refresh rate, 1080p gaming.
I think you should be able... I see a different menu.
Yeah, I know.
It says assist restrictions you should have somewhere.
I'm adding some AI. Where were all these settings again?
Oh, mine is... you need to press the Y button on your controller, then you get race style.
Yeah. This is casual, so AI difficulty. I'm just going to turn that down a little bit, because I remember, and maybe it's still, if it has the same settings, it's like full damage settings as well.
But if you switch from casual, then you can adjust those settings.
Expert.
Yeah, then you can, for example, go to assist restrictions on the left. Yeah. And there you can switch it off. A little bit lower, I think. Don't want to make it too easy. Yeah, brakes is medium, okay.
Anti-lock brakes. Oh, just turn that off. No. Honestly, because I think we even did like the gearbox and stuff, or maybe just what was it? Getting off the start, and we had trouble actually getting off the start
of the line
because it's
nice.
Anyway, track.
Hungry and dry.
Last time we did Silverstone because it was.
Yeah, but you did it after right after that race.
Yeah. True, but also the track difficulty is easy. If you look at track difficulty for Hungary,
let's go hard.
It's hard.
Go hard or go home.
Oh, dude. All right. Well, fine. Practice format of qualifying just one shot, and then session length short. Or what was it? Very short. Just 3 laps. That's fine for now.
Okay, I'm ready.
I have no idea. Maybe did we even have other? Yeah, we have other cars. Okay, that's good. All right, I guess then I'm ready as well. I don't know how to.
I think you have to leave settings first. I think then you get back in the lobby. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, let's go. I have no idea. I don't even remember how to play this, but.
I'm just going default settings.
Yeah.
On the soft tire.
Oh, I'm not changing anything.
X, go to track.
I'm just gonna go. It goes straight into qualifying, by the way. Whoa, what is this view?
And it's one shot, right?
Yes. Oh crap! I don't even know this freaking circuit.
I really have to get used to play.
By the way,
with the controller.
can you? Oh wait, maybe we'll have to do this again because we're stuck on my screen only. So people are just looking at me now.
Ah, but this is only qualifying. Later on, I will switch to the.
Yeah. People want to see the performance, and with people I mean me. Hello, I am people.
I'm now driving past where I was sitting during the race.
Oh, now I remember why it's stuck in this view, in this third-person car view, because we were trying to exact carnage on the rest of the field by driving in the wrong direction. And we were having trouble spotting the upcoming cars because it was so fast in the normal cockpit view.
I have to do another lap, by the way.
Yeah.
I cut the chicane.
Yeah. Whatever.
This one won't count.
Yeah. Well, it's one shot, so what do you think?
Will it automatically put me on the back row? I cannot do a second run?
No. It's one shot. What do you think
I cut it like by 1 centimeter.
What
You gotta be kidding me.
What do you think one shot means?
What a thing.
Anyway.
Okay, let's move.
I don't even... How do I change the friggin... anyway. Woohoo! Completed laps. Yeah. Player 1. Look at that.
Yeah,
nice.
Mine won't even count now.
Player 1. Oh, you're also player 1. You're at the bottom.
Yeah, I don't have a lap time. But that makes sense.
All right. Okay. But let me try and fix the. Oh crap!
Damn track limits.
Start race. No, not the track limits. I basically just want to fix the.
Oh no, I was talking about the track limits.
Oh,
I'm annoyed by the track limits.
How do I change the cockpit view again? I don't remember.
Press the C on your
Camera
keyboard.
customization.
Just press the C on your keyboard. It will change it.
No. I'm just going for the TV production view. I'm all about that TV. All right. Just press X. It's fine. What? Why do I get this friggin' view? Okay.
Oh, it's manual shift.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, no, it's not anymore. It's
No.
only at the start.
Yes.
Okay.
Just to give you a
Interesting.
challenge. Oh, give you a challenge. What are you doing?
Just coming through.
Dude,
Hey, I was doing a Bottas. I think my car is a little bit damaged.
You think so? You might have to pit, maybe. Ultra realistic. I think mine might be as well, because you kind of
Going full Bottas.
you Bottas me.
Why are you still in the race?
It's a good question. I think I had my anti-Bottas protection on. Norton anti-Bottas.
Norris wishes he had one.
Whoa!
Little bit wider, turn 4.
Yeah, this guy kind of landed. Was it? Lance strolled me. He went on the inside of another corner over the grass, and then kind of came into me. Oh, three laps on this circuit. I'm actually not very familiar.
The race only 3 laps.
Yes.
Okay, that's very short to make this time.
Oh yeah,
up.
obviously, but it's about the performance. Yeah. Come on, get out of my way. So yeah, I'm at 130, 140 FPS. What about you?
I'm around 70 FPS.
Right, what's the experience for you? How does it feel?
It's doable, but not great.
Okay. For me, it's pretty sweet actually. And remember, guys, this is ultra setting, so it's like the highest settings, bar the ray tracing. Am I right? Yeah, bar the ray tracing. So everything on ultra, just ray tracing off, because then both cards have ray tracing off. Damn. Okay. Yeah, I overshot that corner by quite a bit. But yeah, pretty good performance, and temperature I'm around 58-ish. I'm not sure what you are at.
69.
All right, so about 10 degrees difference. And really, yeah, there's no audible. Like I can't tell that the fans are spinning, and probably they're not even spinning very hard, because it's. Yeah, this card, it doesn't use that much power, so that also helps. That the cooler doesn't really have to work that hard. Oh, come on! So this now I can really tell that they said that I think on Hungaroring it's difficult to overtake, right?
Yeah, it is.
DRS enabled. Okay, cool. Yeah, now I can tell, because I'm kind of stuck behind people.
Maybe I'm P20, but I do have the fastest lap.
You do?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Yeah, well, you have clean air, right?
Yep.
I don't. I've got people blocking me. And not enough knowledge of this track to get past them in an efficient way. Oh.
Nah, Hamilton had a bit of trouble with Alonso as well.
Oh, not just Alonso. But yeah, I mean, obviously, this track is not easy to overtake. And I mean, the AI is still quite, in an easy setting in this as well, and we've got pretty much a lot of assistance also still on. But here as well, I mean, I can't really say that the hardware is holding me back in any way, shape or form. It's purely myself.
I just blame the hardware.
Of course you did. That's why I gave you the older rig with the yellowed out screen. Oh, I raised myself back up to the 9th place.
Nice, nice.
Whew. All right, my fastest lap was 120.5.
I finished P20, but I saw the rest of the field again. I think my fastest lap should be kind of okay.
Do you remember what the time was?
No, I hope I can
Okay.
see it.
Probably, yeah, we can see it after the race. Whew, yeah, podium doesn't really interest me, because neither of us are on there. Okay.
FRC Eagle says, Mike, I'm having a deja vu. My turn 1 probably.
Yeah, probably. Okay, best lap. My best lap was 120.5. Yours, oh yeah, it was like a second faster. Wow. But you do have 3 seconds added on as a time penalty. So you must have done something to upset the FIA.
I didn't do a thing. I'm innocent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I should have picked a Mercedes, then I wouldn't get the penalty.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you can't really pick. It was like a standard car, a standard livery and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
anyway, okay. But yeah, you can really see. I mean, this game, it's really already starting to show a big difference in terms of hardware and the FPS you can expect. So, like Mike said, it's still doable at 1080p in this game. Everything.
Yeah, with an RX 580 first gen Ryzen.
Everything is on ultra, to be fair. So.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get more FPS, it's very easy to do that. You can, maybe we can actually, if you want, if we have enough time, maybe it's better to move on to Valhalla, to be fair. Just looking at the time now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be quite easy to get more performance out of this.
Yeah, you can, if you have like a 4-year-old system, like on this level, you can play it perfectly fine. It is an okay experience. It's not horrible. But yeah, I can imagine that it was a little bit more comfortable on the other system.
Oh yes, I can confirm that. No, but yeah, I mean that's why it's 4 years difference, right? I mean you'd expect that, to be fair.
Time for Valhalla.
Time to go to Valhalla.
CJ Bill says, Mike got a faster lap on lower FPS,
Yes.
so we can conclude that lower FPS wins game. I think that's a very accurate conclusion.
Yeah, in this case, yes.
But the stupid thing is, I was sitting next to that chicane all weekend in Hungary, and now I got the track limit thing at the chicane during qualifying.
Yeah. It's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit.
AMD Ryzen,
Yeah.
got that.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean this Assassin's Creed Valhalla as well is, I think, more optimized for AMD, but still. And for this one, I think we still need to check the in-game settings once you.
Yeah, we need to sync them up.
Yes. Once you get into the game.
Takes a while. I'm running a 4-year-old system. Be patient.
Yeah. You had 4 years to catch up. All right.
Okay, options.
Yes.
So first screen,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. FPS limit off.
FPS limit off. Full screen.
Yeah.
69, 1080p.
Yeah. Refresh rate. I just kept it on native.
Yeah.
But since VSync is off, and then
why does mine say 60 hertz native?
I don't know. Is it 60 hertz native?
No, it's 165 hertz, and I also set it to 165 hertz in Windows.
Okay.
But yeah, it doesn't matter. The refresh rate doesn't matter for the frame rate,
Exactly.
so
Because
I'll stick to this.
VSync or adaptive sync are both off.
Your resolution scale is to?
100.
Okay, because mine is at 70 now. I'm going to put it to 100 as well.
But I mean, seeing as we both have 8 gigs of VRAM, right? It should be fine because your graph on the bottom right. How much does it say you will? Does it predict you will use?
44, 84.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's surprising. Mine says it will use 5,766.
Wait, let me move you out of the way a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, then I still cannot see it. Wait.
No, but
there.
But I think we.
That's maybe because you have 240 hertz. Can you manually set that to 160?
Not just that. I think it's
and the
also,
other settings.
It's
yeah.
140.
Oh, you don't have
145 I can do,
165.
but that doesn't. I mean, changing that doesn't change the number. So
it
no.
may have to do with the graphics settings
Yes,
here.
we haven't dived into that yet. So let's do that.
Yeah,
now.
yours is at ultra high.
Yes.
Let me also put it to ultra high.
Okay.
Adaptive quality off.
Yes.
Anti-aliasing high. Yeah. Ultra
everything is
high.
Ultra high. Very high.
Very high.
Clutter. Shadows ultra high. Volumetric
Yes.
clouds ultra high. Water high. Screen space reflections on. Environment textures high. Character textures high. Depth of field high. Motion blur on.
I cannot handle. Can we switch that off?
Me neither. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. As long as we both do it, then it should be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Restart the game. Yes.
Really? You have to restart the game?
I
Oh,
do,
you
because I
changed
made some
more.
major
Yeah,
changes.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, guys. I think in the meantime, as Mike's 4-year-old system is rebooting, we can do another giveaway.
That's actually a good idea. I'm gonna do that.
All right, guys. So yeah, if you want to participate, we've still got a couple of codes to give away of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So you go to msi.com/2/insider or click the Gleam link in the YouTube or Twitch chat, and yeah, perform a couple of actions to participate. The more actions you perform, the better your chance of winning. If you're a regular viewer, you can also use your loyalty points, and yeah, then good luck to you. And then in the back end, Mike will randomly pick a couple of winners. Do 2 this time, by the way, if you want.
2 this
because I
time?
think we've actually only given away 2 so far, so we're gonna draw 2 winners right now as well. See if we can make 2 of you happy. System is taking its sweet time. Yeah.
Yep.
I think yes.
We got 2.
All right. Go ahead.
The first is glitching Pixel, not Pixel, but with an I before the E.
Yes.
Pixel. Congratulations, you won a game code for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Congrats.
And congratulations, that one is for you. Good luck.
I have no idea. KYFRDY. I think I'm just gonna DI. Sorry. KY.
And now pronounce that as a word.
DI. Kai for D.
Congratulations, you also won a game code for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
We'll get those out to you as soon as possible.
And make sure to claim it as soon as possible, because we don't know the expiration date.
How do I enter a default gamer? You go, there's a Gleam link, gleam.io, being published in the chat for Twitch, where you're watching every 5 minutes. Don't worry, we still have some codes to give away, so you can still participate. So take your time and enjoy the content in the meantime as well.
Higlot has a very good comment on YouTube. I really don't understand why so many games keep motion blur default to on.
Yeah.
I always switch it off. Is there anyone who actually enjoys playing with motion blur on? Well, I don't.
I haven't met them yet, indeed, and every review I see, it doesn't matter if it's Linus Tech Tips or you know those huge media outlets. They also, whenever it comes up, they also just go, just turn it off. You know.
Yeah.
So it seems to be like a universal thing.
Yeah, but he's correct. It's almost always on by default. I don't get why.
It's one of those, you know, life's big mysteries things that you. I have no idea why developers do that either.
And for example, Rocket League, they also have camera shake, and that's also switched on by default, and it's super annoying.
It's for the immersion, man.
Yeah, I think so.
I remember also in a game like Valheim, the camera shake was also on, and for the longest time when I at first started playing it a long time ago, that I also thought like, damn, that's annoying. But I just kind of accepted it, like, well, you know, it's there, and then at some point I realized like, wait a minute, I can actually switch that off. Okay, so from that point on, no more camera shake. Because it was annoying as hell if you're being chased by like, you know, this huge troll who's you know, and you're trying to concentrate. Okay, I need to get there, like parkour, you know, like, you know, you need to be quick and manage your stamina and stuff like that. But because of the shaking, it threw off your like where you're going and stuff. You're like, ah. Anyway, so it kind of added to the realistic.
Did you see that? It automatically switched motion blur back on again. Off. Stay away.
I'm gonna scroll down to see if mine is still off. No, mine is still off.
I noticed because at the top mine was at graphics quality ultra high and yours said custom.
All right,
so I scrolled down to see what the difference was.
Fair enough.
That was motion blur. And the game did it on purpose.
Okay.
Must have had some bad karma from a previous life, maybe.
I think
or
so.
maybe the spawn killing.
Yeah, probably. I'm just trying to see where.
So there's a benchmark on the when you go all the way to the main menu.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's underneath options.
Damn. Okay. Yes. Okay. So yeah, we can start it at the same time. So let's just say 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
I was faster with the yes, but I have a longer loading time.
and then click the yes. I want to start a benchmark.
Yep. Should we do anything or?
Yeah, it will do.
Oh, this is the loading screen.
Yes.
Ah.
This isn't the benchmark itself.
I thought that's a boring benchmark.
Yes, it would be. All right.
I was faster clicking yes, but still I'm behind.
Unfortunately, yeah. So yeah, my benchmark at the moment it's just over 70 FPS. Yours is just over 30. Well, around 40, I'd say. To be fair.
I think my in-game brightness might be a little bit higher.
I don't know.
Here on the right you can also see the statistics.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So when I switch between them, all the settings are identical.
Yeah.
Of course the specifications are slightly different.
Yes. And also, I mean, for me, CPU utilization is just around 30%. Not sure how that is for you.
For me, it's
same.
yeah, it's about the same.
Yeah.
It's still an 8-core processor,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
1700X.
And GPU utilization, obviously.
And
is,
also because your GPU is a bit faster, it can render more frames, and that
Yeah.
puts a little bit more strain on the CPU.
Yes. Yeah. It has to do more draw calls and
Yeah,
stuff like
indeed.
that for more frames.
CJ Bill says it looks like a scene from Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it kind of does.
Kind of, yeah. Okay, mine is done.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're entering
Yes.
the annoying frame rate range for my system.
All right. Yeah, I mean,
Like-
your graph, it
yeah.
doesn't even look similar to mine in terms of, you'd think
No.
that some scenes are, for each GPU are more straining than others, but I mean, even the spikes and stuff like that doesn't really coincide.
Yeah, like 45 FPS on average. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
No,
not great.
no, you're not gonna play that game with basically ultra settings. And on this one, it's
No.
84 on average. Yeah,
That's still
still
quite
pretty
good.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a top end card, it's still decent performance.
Exactly, and then you've got the frame time as well at the bottom.
Nigerian also says now it's getting to the not playable territory. Yeah, indeed.
Yes.
Of course, with an RX 580, if you turn down your settings, then it will become playable.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
If you're now at 45, if you lower some settings, of course, resolution you don't want to go lower than 1080p. But in terms of textures and stuff, I think you can get it over 60 FPS on average. So then it would be
Yes.
more playable, I'd say.
I mean, this is ultra quality, so you can easily go down to high or maybe even very high. Sometimes it's like these effects like depth of field and volumetric clouds that can really have a huge impact on your performance. So a lot of times there will be like optimized graphic settings for games like this, especially Ubisoft games in the past, because just by editing or lowering a few settings that. Yeah, not that noticeable in terms of visual quality, but the performance would improve quite a bit.
Also, my latency is quite a bit higher.
Yeah, I was gonna take a look at that as well, because you've got the CPU latency and the GPU latency. So this is my.
I'm quickly
screen that
going to
you're looking
remove you. There you go.
at. Oh, yeah,
There you go, and he's gone.
but there you see the CPU latency is on average 12 milliseconds and the GPU 11. So that's quite nicely, almost in sync.
And this is mine. I will remove you again.
Yeah, it's like double.
Yeah, 23.
It is
and
double.
22. It is
I
double.
think, yeah. So there you go.
So I've got 3,736 frames rendered in 85 seconds, and you have 7,101.
Yeah.
So almost double again.
Yes. Yeah. Which is not that surprising, given that there's like 4 years in between, and it's a whole new architecture. Also, the CPU is quite a bit faster. That's in here. So, yeah. Again, this is the kind of performance you would expect. How much would 4040p impact that same benchmark for the 6600 XT?
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot, indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it would probably go below. I'm pretty sure it will go below 60 then. Especially with ultra settings.
Let me do some quick math.
Well, actually, you know what? I could do that. But let me see.
You have a 1080p screen.
No, actually, this monitor can do 4040p. I think yours can do as well.
Mine is a 1440p set to 1080.
No, that's true. I mean, so the output, the capture card is 1080p, but perhaps, or maybe we can just do the scaling setting. But let me first see. Oh no, actually, oh yeah, it's 1080p is native.
Yeah. But let me do the math. If we have
scale.
1920 times 1080, you have 2,073,600 pixels, so a little over 2 million.
Yes.
Then we have 2560 times 4040 is 3,686,400. So you go from a little over 2 million pixels to over 3.5.
Yeah.
That's a big gap. So it will have significant impact on the benchmark results and on your performance.
Exactly. So there is a resolution scale that I could try, but I'm not sure if I should go with like 160 or 140%. That's more. That would kind of represent that resolution. I'm not 100% sure how which one is accurate. So I mean, I could do one, but what does that say if I'm not 100% sure on what it means? But there are benchmarks that you can find, for example, on TechSpot, which we featured earlier, TechSpot or Hardware Unboxed or any other media. I think Valhalla is one of the games that is included, and they will do. I've seen benchmarks at 1080p, at 1440p, even at 4K on some of them. So. Yeah.
And to be fair, if you want to play these kind of games like Valhalla on ultra settings on higher resolutions, then 6600 XT is probably not the card for you. Then you will need to go higher up in this queue.
Yeah.
So then you will be looking at 6800 XT, maybe even 6900 XT if you, for example, want to play in 4K resolution.
Yeah.
1440p, yeah, 6800 non-XT would still be quite okay as well. Maybe 6700 XT, depends a little bit on your settings as well. Yeah. But yeah, if you go maximum settings, then I wouldn't go higher than 1080p for this range of cards.
Indeed.
For these games, that is. For other games, no, like Counter-Strike, not an issue at all.
Yeah, and we can go into the actual game. I don't know if we'll get thrown into a. I don't know, but I'll take the default, whatever. Jesus, how many settings do I have to choose? But this is a fresh install, so I'm not sure if it'll throw me into a whole long prologue story that unskippable or something. But I hope not.
Chad is asking, I was curious how it will run on my 5700 XT gaming.
Well, probably somewhat similar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not too far away in terms of
in terms of average performance. I mean, obviously you've got generational improvements as well. So this 6600 XT.
You did a new game, right? By the way.
Sorry.
You did a new game, right?
Yes. Yeah. Will probably perform just a little bit better than the 5700 XT, but it won't be too far apart. So yeah.
And which option? Adventure, Explorer?
I just choose the one that says default with
Explorer.
every step, because
and
that's
then
why. Yeah.
Vikinger default.
Yep.
Okay. And Assassin.
Yes.
Default all the things.
Sorry?
Default all the things.
Yes. Yes to all. Why is there no... I want to be able to skip this. Maybe there's a way. Guys, if you know a way to skip the...
You're so impatient.
I am. I want to get to the actual gameplay, not the 30 FPS movie.
I'm at 31 FPS.
Oh. Wait. There seems to be something here. Wait. Can I do something? No, I can. Okay, yeah. Seems like you have to be a little bit patient, just like me, but I'll wait for you to catch up to this point. It's a short movie, all right.
A lot of fireflies.
Yeah, I would love to have a copy of this game so I could bench it with a 1060 for comparison. Honestly, Higlot, it's probably going to be relatively similar to Mike's experience, because 1060, it can still depend. I mean, you've got the 3 gig version and
if
the 6 gig.
If you have the 6 gig version,
yes.
because I'm running the RX 588 gig version, They're relatively close.
Yes.
Depends a bit per title which one is faster. I think Valhalla is usually
AMD.
quite favoring AMD a little bit.
Yeah.
So expect a little bit lower performance with a 1060 6GB when comparing it to an RX 580. It may be the other way around in some other games because they're really close, those two.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're in the same scene now, right? I mean, you can look at the door. I think you're supposed to go there. But yeah, I'm seeing over 100, even over 110 FPS with just about 53 degrees on the 52, 53 degrees, barely spinning the fans, I'd say. And with you, it's almost half the frame rate.
Yeah,
it's still above 60, so it's kind of doable.
But now we're still inside.
Yes, so let's head outside, see what happens.
And 44 FPS.
And 80.
45.
Oh, you only have the 3 gig version, sadly. Well, that's going to affect your performance, especially with...
Yeah, it depends a bit on what you're doing, but especially these kind of games are usually more VRAM hungry. Like for esports titles, will still be fine.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just walk.
But yeah,
through.
3 gig in certain games nowadays can become a little bit of an issue.
Yeah. All right, so 40 FPS versus just over 80, 70, 80-ish. Inferno, I mean, we do read your comments about your build, and it's very understandable. You're trying to resolve it. Sadly, there's not a whole lot we can do from here. We're unfortunately not really tech support, so we would recommend you to make sure you get in touch with our RMA service or our technical support, at least through our website. Make sure that at least they're aware of it and see if they can maybe help you resolve the issues that you're experiencing. Obviously, it sounds from what you're describing that indeed that's not really what it's supposed to be like, so hopefully they can help you out. So yeah, the performance, I mean, temperatures are not that far off. There's about a 10-degree difference, but you know, between 53 or 62, it's not that huge. It's not that big of a difference. Oh, we can dance. Let's dance.
Like right now, it doesn't really feel smooth anymore, the game.
Well, 30.
I'm dipping below 40 FPS.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it still feels pretty damn smooth and pretty responsive, even though it's only 70. Yeah. But again, this is with everything on Ultra, so that's probably a bit ridiculous anyway. I could probably easily turn some settings down a bit, and that would probably help me to get closer to a consistent 100 FPS plus experience.
But like, if you're in this FPS range, like a 30 FPS difference is a huge difference. When you go from like 50 FPS to 80 FPS, that's a much bigger difference in practice than when you go, for example, from 200 to 230.
Yes, indeed. If there's 30 FPS, indeed. When you've already got 200 FPS, then it's hardly noticeable. Maybe a bit in frame time, because that can still change a little bit. But yeah, it's a much bigger difference in this kind of...
Because like below 50 FPS and sometimes even dropping below 40, you can really feel the stuttering.
I haven't been paying attention. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do other than dance.
I stop dancing.
Yeah, you can walk away. Just start walking, and then somebody will, Sigurd will come up and offer you a drink.
I'd like a drink.
Yeah, me too.
Give it here. I'll pass 30 long chicks.
My father asked
Give it here. I'll pass it on.
My father
Suit
asked
yourself.
me. Secret.
I kind of want to go out into the landscape and the snow and stuff, but
You're not getting any meat.
there's like a white dot there. Play.
Where should we go?
I don't know. It showed me some kind of white dot and then play, so I'm not sure. I thought I was supposed to do that, but then again, now I'm just walking again. I'm probably supposed to overhear a conversation here or something, but I honestly
Oh, this is
To the
player.
king. You have to go get to the king.
So, you have the ring? Yeah. This was worn by your grandfather in the battle on the Milky Way.
But yeah, so yeah, if you have a system somewhat equivalent to you know what was around in 2017-ish, 16, 17, 18, you'll probably have an equivalent system to what Mike is running.
Yeah, depends a bit on what you have. Like if you have a 1080 Ti, of course you can expect more performance than what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
But if you're like the RX 400 series, RX 500 series, 1060 cards, those are all approximately in this performance range.
Yeah, and so in that case, yeah, if you do have the chance, you can find one of these cards, and then also for a price that you, that you think, okay, this is doable, and also maybe your not just your graphics card, but also your motherboard, and maybe your CPU, obviously, because yeah, that also makes a big difference depending on the game you want to play. But yeah, we've seen several games today from the more pedestrian CS:GO, which is not very difficult on hardware, and you know you can get high FPS on most PCs, unless you're doing things seriously wrong. To games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which are quite a bit more demanding, especially in their ultra settings. Not even mentioning ray tracing, because I think you know in these games we've opted to turn that off for now. And we also don't use anything like FSR because yeah, on 1080p that's not really recommended.
Friendship and love.
But
Hello,
it's,
VRK.
it's a
Welcome.
pretty nice experience, pretty nice boost in terms of thing. Yeah, I mean, indeed, I've been running the GPU now for quite a few minutes, and actually, you know, from game to game, but there have been pauses in between. But you can really see that, yeah, I mean, this GPU with 160 watts, it doesn't use that much power. So that also means that just a twin frozen cooler like the one here, with a decent heatsink, which this one definitely has, a very good cooler. It's going to remain very silent and very cool as well. I mean, not even breaking 60 degrees by a long shot.
Yeah, in
While
terms of
staying-
temperatures, I'm still quite fine as well. RX 580 was also quite efficient.
Yeah.
62 degrees Celsius. I'm using the Mac 2 card, so also quite a decent dual fan cooler on there.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And I mean, yeah, I also had. That's why we wanted to try this card, because I really love the old school gaming. You know, the red and black one. Twin Force 5, I think this was. Or no, this was 6 actually. The 5 was the first red and black one, so this was the Twin Force 6. But yeah, I mean, these cards were really freaking good. No matter if you had, in terms of cooling, I mean, not really going into the GPUs themselves. Obviously, it depends on GPU after that. But the cooler on this generation was also just really good. It was like pretty much gold standard. And but yeah, sadly we only had a 480 with 4 gigs, which is this one.
Yeah, we didn't want to bottleneck it with the VRAM
Exactly.
too much to get a bit fairer comparison. Yeah. So that's why we took the RX 580 8 gig version.
Can I add clock speeds to the overlay? Sure. Before we end the stream, I can probably do that. Let's see. GPU temperature. Where is it?
Which ones are you going to enable? I can do the same on mine.
I'm just looking for it right now. GPU clock. CPU power.
The CPU clock or the GPU clock?
No,
Which
GPU
one?
clock actually, but I'm trying to find it, but either I'm jumping past it. Oh, core clock. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, in text.
GPU usage core
Here we go.
clock in text.
So I mean, I mentioned, you know, the game clock for this one was what 24, 26 or something megahertz. But you can see in a game like this, it boosts up quite a bit higher than that. So
I
it's
will
up
have to move mine a lot to the left.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it shifts indeed when you add stuff. Anyway, but yeah, so it's up to 2612, 2611. It boosts up pretty high, especially with cooling like this. You know, it has plenty of thermal headroom. So really, the only thing limiting it is probably the power limit.
I'm at 1380 megahertz. Bit of a difference, but of course, very hard to compare these two because the architecture is completely different.
Generation on generation, the megahertz or the clock speed doesn't really tell much of the story.
Like if we would be comparing like a 400 and a 500 series, then yes, because in terms of architecture they're the same, and then you will see slightly boosted clock speeds on the 500 series. But these series are so different in terms of architecture that it doesn't tell you too much. So I'll switch mine off again because now you cannot see my FPS counter anymore.
Alright, so this is a cutscene, so you can see that with the card, completely cuts off the clock speed and everything like that to save energy and stuff like that. So yeah, during playing movies, it's kind of like idling. So and then once it's because this is a pre-recorded cutscene, so the card really doesn't have to render anything at this point. But after this is done, oh wait, oops, that was an accidental Windows button press. I'm trying to see if I can skip this cutscene, but it's probably not. Anyway, yeah, that's the card.
Shall we do a quick teardown?
No, I think we don't really have time for that.
Not quick one? Only the quick?
Not even a quick one.
We can do a quickie. Should be doable because you have an R1, so it doesn't need to cool down.
Well, no, indeed, I have another one indeed. But what I do need to do then is try to move the setting.
Yeah, just move it to the side a little bit.
To create a bit of space for myself, and then I'll exit the game in the meantime as well.
Guys, if you haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider because at the end of the stream, we will have some last winners.
Yeah, you see if you can get some more winners, and then I'll see if I can move the camera in such a way that
Did you count how many keys we still have? Then I can know if I can do 2.
No, but I think you can do 2.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Okay, let's get going.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to break one of the seals as well, obviously. So first, I'm just going to undo the screws of the back plate. This is a metal back plate, by the way. So it also helps a little bit with heat dissipation if you have enough airflow in your case. It's also, by the way, it has the flow-through design, if you haven't seen that before. So the PCB actually only runs pretty much up to here, I think, just with the power connector that's here, basically. So it stops there. It's a relatively short PCB, and then the rest of it can be used similarly to some of the NVIDIA cards with a flow-through design. So basically the air will then, from the back fan basically will be blown through the heatsink, and then the hot air will exit out through the back plate. 2 fans, as you see, both Torx fan 4.0 with ball bearings, and display outputs. Maybe I can also show you guys that. So we've got triple display port and 1 single HDMI. And I do believe that the HDMI is 2.0 or, yeah. And DisplayPort, I don't know exactly which version.
I think it's even 2.1, right?
Yeah, it could be, yeah, 2.1. I think it's the latest version. Let's see. So I'm always wondering with these cards, to be fair, because I don't really take them apart before the stream or something, so it's not like I practiced this. I'm just doing this on the fly. Let's see. So there's only 4 screws holding the back plate in place on this one. And then there's obviously 4 screws on the back of the GPU holding the cooler in place. So I'm wondering, yeah, there's other screw holes here as well. Well, basically these are just the back end, but that means that, so I've removed the 4 screws that were on each of these corners basically. And then there's like rivets here as well, which I can't undo from this side because they are holding it in place from that side, for example. So here's one, and there's more there as well. So I think I'd better remove the cooler first. So that requires me to remove the 4 screws at the rear of, in the middle of the back plate. Ooh. I actually may have damaged something here by taking this off. The spring that was attached to the screw kind of started rotating, and there's like this little plastic thing shielding the card in between the PCB and the screw, or the spring, which kind of started spinning as well, and I think it broke a little bit, but that should be fine. Then I'm going to remove the connectors for RGB first. So there's one on this side.
By unplugging the RGB connector, you will lose 20 FPS.
Probably, yeah. By the way, we don't recommend you to do this at all. Especially
That's why we do it.
Exactly, we do
So
this
you
so
don't
you don't
have
have to. Oh, I think it's already coming off a little bit. Yes. Ha ha. There we go. And I'll just for comfort, so I can hold them separately, I'll remove the 2 fan connectors as well. And you have to be really careful with these because they're quite vulnerable. It's very easy to damage them if you don't know what you're doing. And never ever pull these out by just yanking the cord. But yeah, here you have the PCB. So as you can see, the PCB is quite a bit shorter than the full length of the card, which runs all the way to here, basically, of the heatsink. You can see the GPU itself, obviously covered in paste, and I'm going to keep it that way because I'm going to reassemble it after taking it apart. 4 memory modules, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of them is 2 gigs for a total of 8. Of course, here's all the power phases and everything like that. The single 8-pin power connector, as mentioned. And everything was kept nice and cool by this cooler. And as you can see, looking at the cooler, there's obviously the spot where the GPU is, where the big patch of thermal paste is located. Thermal pads for the memory modules, and then of course additional thermal pads for a little bit for the I think this covers the, let's see, the MOSFET probably. Yeah, this probably, I think this touches the MOSFETs, because they will be producing most of the heat in terms of for the power arrangement or the power array. And then there's a little bit of extra space here, but normally this could be used, for example, on a card that has a longer PCB, or you can see on some other Trifroster cards, for example, they have like these plates that will also be used with a thermal pad to contact part of the card to help with cooling. In this case, this is purely done because this part connects to, on the back plate, to these little sockets there. So this is purely done to
sturdiness,
make it,
basically.
yes, structural integrity, and to make it more strong, basically. So it's not, this doesn't serve a purpose for the cooling in this case. But the rest of the heatsink, even though it doesn't connect to directly to the PCB, does have a function, because obviously the heat pipes help to spread the heat along the whole length of the heatsink. And so even the air flowing through this side and out through the backplate will help to dissipate and get rid of some of that heat. But as you saw, even at 100% usage for an extended amount of time, this card will not really get hot. And also the fans, they will start spinning. Obviously this also has zero frozzer, meaning that fans will stop below a certain temperature and will only start spinning if needed. So basically if you're gaming and it reaches, I think, like 55,
I see some people in Twitch who are wondering about the Gleam link, by the way. I think on Twitch it should work if you type !giveaway. That should also give you the direct link to Gleam.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, it's not the most exciting of cards, as in it's, the lower down in the order you go in terms of performance, for example, the cards tend to get a little bit more simple in terms of layout, and also because there's not quite that much required to keep it cool in terms of the heatsink and the thermal design. But it uses a lot of the same technologies, like the same fans, the same style of heatsink in terms of, for example, these the heat pipes and the way that they are squared and flat, made flat and basically squished together, so that they all help with taking heat away from the GPU. But also this base plate here, which covers both the memory and the GPU, also make sure that everything, the heat is being taken from the GPU and the memory modules and then dispersed over as large an area as possible. You can't really see it, but it also has maybe a little bit from here, but there is like the wave curve design. You can see it here a little bit just from the side. So that means that the top of the fins of the fin stack are like wavy. They've got wave curved stamped out of them. And that's basically as the air is moved down into the heatsink, instead of hitting a solid surface, even though it's very thin, those fins are very thin, but still, then if it's a solid surface, it will cause a little bit more turbulence, which you will hear as a whoosh noise, the wind blowing past something. And just by having it like this shape, like waves, helps the air to produce less turbulence as it moves down. And it also helps a little bit with taking a bit more heat away in the process.
I also manually posted the link in the chat, so you should be able to go to Gleam now.
Cool. Twitch bot is dead to the full Bottas event.
Yeah, it's summer here, so maybe it's like Eric, also on a holiday, the Twitch bot.
Yeah, I don't know. Twitch Bottas. Like what? Anyway. Pretty cool card. Literally a cool card. And still, it also, this is a part that helps with anti-bending or sagging, basically. Runs all the way here, and basically just provides a bit more structural integrity together with the whole backplate, the metal backplate. So that really means that, even now when the rest of the cooler is not really attached, it's very rigid and it's very hard to flex or deform the card. And with the weight, especially compared to the bigger cars, this one is quite light, even with the heatsink attached. It's under 1 kilo. This is not. You don't have to worry about any kind of sagging or problem with the weight whatsoever. These cards are completely fine and can fit in any case, and you don't need any kind of support for them. Okay.
Shall we do our last winners
Yes.
for today?
I think we can do that.
But before I'm going to draw them, let's quickly take a look at next week, because I will show you the full lineup of our new X570S motherboard.
You already had a little bit of a preview right here, because this was the X570S Tomahawk
Max Wi-Fi. Yeah. And in a previous live stream, we've also shown the Torpedo, but we have way more boards ready for you. And we will have all of them live in the studio next week. Also, Martijn from AMD will join us to talk about the new Zen APUs. So those are the new Zen 3 based processors with integrated graphics.
Extra interesting at a time like this.
Yeah, for sure. And we will have our very special giveaway where we will give away 3 bundles consisting of a Ryzen 5 5600G. So that's one of those new APUs that were recently launched, together with the MAG B550 Tomahawk motherboard. So we'll give away 3 of those bundles next week. So make sure to join the giveaway next week.
Definitely a prize worth getting.
But for this week, last 2 winners of this giveaway.
Yes.
Let me go to winners.
All right.
Congratulations, Rockwell. You also won a game code for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Congrats.
And congratulations, White Dragon. You also won a game code. Please keep an eye out on your mailbox. We will email the keys to you with some instructions on how to redeem it in the coming days.
And with the note to do it quickly.
Yeah, do it as soon as possible, because we don't know when they expire.
Exactly.
And enjoy the game.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed this live stream and at least got some information regarding the kind of performance. Let us know also if you like this format in terms of trying to provide you with an overview of a system that is more likely to be in a lot of people's houses at the moment, an older system and a system that's contemporary, like that you would buy right now if you can
What
get
can
it.
you expect when you upgrade, basically?
Exactly, and to see what you can expect, or if you would much prefer having the same system but just the GPU different, for example. So it's up to you, but let us know how you liked it, and hope this helps at least. For you to determine if the 6600 XT is suitable for you and if it's got enough performance for the things that you want to do with it. Anyway, thank you guys for joining, and we hope to see you guys next week. Don't miss it. Get some really nice prizes.
It will be a great live stream.
Exactly.
I promise.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye. Oh man, I have to get back to reassembling this thing.
Bye bye.